or individual protesters do not have a veto over this, right? This is not part of our system. Just because you things that don't quite seem to warrant this kind of response, but they're clearly in practice doing everything in their power to impede the enforcement of federal law, and that is not acceptable.
Okay, we'll get to it as we go. Once Drew gets back, we'll see if he can actually hear us and see us and all that. But in the meantime, we are joined by Nicholas Decker. Tell people who you are, what you do, and
chair. Nice.
Your thoughts on the situation at hand. Go ahead, sir.
Skipping forward.
I believe he actually ended up killing illegal immigrants himself.
It was a tragedy.
If the ICE agent was unjustified in shooting Renee.
No, that's not what I argue. I didn't argue that at all. Can we have? I know you have an Australian accent. Can we speak English? Hello?
I mean, you're talking about the Renee Good shooting.
The crosstalk in a minute, man. Right? Just.
Minnesota means that they've kind of completely and totally ceded all grounds to do any kind of insurrection act or any kind of mass enforcement. I think that when your federal government is lying to you and lying about things that all of us can see on video, there's absolutely no reason why we should trust them to deploy any type of National Guard or to invoke any kind of insurrection act, because who's to say that they won't lie about other stuff relating to details of it in the future. So I think that they just completely lost the ground on that. They should probably just get the fuck out of Minnesota, respect states' rights, and then go back to trying to govern like a real president. I hear this thrown around a lot. I've heard it thrown around on this panel. I don't know what the level of government understanding is, but in the United States of America, just because you win an election doesn't give you carte blanche to do literally whatever you want for the rest of your 4 years.
Hey, you guys should donate money, okay? Remember, all right, if I know that a lot of you guys are employed, okay? You guys are not actually unemployed, fakers. You guys are just trying to take unemployment benefits, okay? You guys are trying to take unemployment valor, okay? You're a bunch of valor thieves, okay? You guys need to donate money if I help you guys do your job or I hope you guys get to sleep, okay? All right? And I know it has to be one of these two. So, you know what? It's time to cough up, okay? It's time to cough up the pennies, all right? Cough up your lunch money. Open your hearts, open your wallets, all right? This job is not possible without people like you to donate to me, okay? And I know that you guys are employed. I know that you guys have a lot of money, okay? Don't pretend as if you guys don't, all right? White-collar mofos.
There's a reason why ICE is historically hated more now than they have been in all of U.S. history. I think 42% of Americans support the abolition of ICE right now, so it's obviously not going the direction they want it to. Yeah.
Okay, we will open it up, and you guys can ask each other questions, have talks. If I have questions, I'll jump in, but otherwise, floor's open. Go ahead.
Can we, real quick, can we all acknowledge that Kristi Noem and Donald Trump lied about the conditions relating to the slain Minnesota driver?
Yes. No, absolutely we cannot. Like, we've all seen the video, right? And everybody walks away from the video absolutely convinced that it vindicates their pre-existing position.
Was the ICE driver stuck in ice? Was his car trapped in a snowbank?
I don't know.
Okay, can we wait and bring up the video and then go and watch it? There's less than 10 minutes of video for this. This is probably going to be one of the most.
No, I think that's a complete waste of time. It's not particularly significant whether
arguing about whether or not we should invoke the insurrection act. You don't bother to watch the 5 to 10 minutes of footage available on this. I don't even know why you're here right now. You should mute for 10 minutes. You should just go watch all the available footage. It's going to take you less than 10 minutes to watch it, and then come back when you have a fully formed opinion on like the inciting moment that would be why the insurrection act. It is a typical like to derail.
Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. Both of you, please. All of you.
That's kind of important.
All of you, please. Like, I understand that it's going to be a passionate panel. I get it, but we can't just talk over each other. So we got to go one at a time. Renee, I'm sorry, not Renee. Hunter,
if you people on drum solos at the same.
Good one, Wick.
Hunter, if you want to give us your response to that, do you want me to bring up the footage, or should we just skip that part? What do you think, Renee?
And if you want to, I don't think it's particularly relevant to the substance of any debate. Like, I don't think anyone's position on anything that's happened would change based on whether or not the car was caught in a snowbank, right? The issue is
conservative position is never fact reliant. That is absolutely true. I do agree with that.
The issue, I don't think anybody is, right? I think the issue is that, like, the question with regard to the Renee Good situation was whether it's a good shoot. We can argue about that forever, but frankly, anyone can just watch the video and make up their own mind.
What I'm a bit confused about is, it seems that Destiny is basically arguing that if the ICE agent was unjustified in shooting Renee.
No, that's not what I argue. I didn't argue that at all. Can we have? I know you have an Australian accent. Can we speak English? Hello?
I mean, you're talking about the Renee Good shooting as the.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Per your rack.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Per your rack.
Stop! Can the bot stop doubling? Okay, guys, this is why you guys should donate. Okay, it seems as though. Okay, Botrex is having a great time. Okay, so it's just doubling everything. So if you want your shit to be read out 2 times, okay, remember to donate. Okay, this is your one chance to do so before they fix it. All right, fuck you guys. Thank you so much for the $5 stumbling. I appreciate that.
No, I'm saying that Kristi Noem and Donald Trump made egregious lies about what led up to that and what happened with that shooting. Whether you think it was a good shoot or a bad shoot, they demonstrably lied about the facts leading up to that. That would be the inciting moment for any type of insurrection act thing, right? Because all the protests and everything have kind of been based off of that, her being shot, whether you think it was good or not. And the fact that they lied so much and so egregiously about that means that they lose any right to invoke any kind of insurrection because we have no trust in them as the American public to actually wield that power in a responsible manner.
No. But this is the core question is there an insurrection in Minnesota? And you're seemingly arguing that if
Two Kings not.
Hold on, just real quick.
shooting.
Destiny, you're
Sorry, I don't know where that came from. My bad. I was just coming through. My bad. Go ahead. Every time you talk, it just happens sometimes. So go ahead.
Okay. The core question is there a state
Why?
of insurrection in the state of Minnesota?
Good
You're
name,
almost
okay.
arguing that if the shooting of Renee Good was unjustified, then potentially the
that's not what I said.
resultant unrest would be justified.
No, that's not what I said.
So maybe this will help. Destiny, you claim that Kristi Noem and Donald Trump have lied about the shooting, and therefore it doesn't matter what they say, they've lied to the American public, so they cede ground. Can you give us an example of a lie that maybe we talk about, and maybe we can go forward from there?
Yeah, the way that they both characterize it, we can find the exact words if you want. Pretty sure it's still up on Trump's Truth Social. Kristi might have made a tweet. I know she's made multiple statements about it. Their claims were that Renee tried to viciously run over the guy with her car, that the ICE vehicle was stuck, and that multiple ICE agents were trying to get it out of the like an ice bank or a snow bank or whatever when she was trying to run them over. There was one other statement, but they lied. They completely mischaracterized. I wouldn't even say mischaracterized. They just told factual.
Wait, is that actually the claim? Holy shit, that's unhinged. Okay, but it is a Trump admin, so that kind of makes sense.
This is the dankest dungeon.
Oh god, here it comes again. Yeah, go for it. Yep. Hey. Huh? Hey, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. It doesn't repeat it when it's on Kick, but it repeats it on YouTube? Noted. Interesting. Okay.
Lies that anybody that's seen the footage knows that these are just total lies, regardless of whether it was a good or bad shoot. Even if you think it was a good shoot, they lied about all of the circumstances surrounding the event. And they continue to lie about paid protesters. They haven't shown any evidence or proof of that, and that's a lie they've also carried on for a decade. So all of these things, they lied so much about that inciting moment. Why would I allow them to use that moment and the ensuing riots to invoke the insurrection Act?
I'm
That's
sorry.
Well, the core question is there a state of insurrection in the state of Minnesota? Would you agree there is, or would you agree?
No, I don't care. If conservatives can't even agree on fact here, they don't have the right to participate in this conversation.
That doesn't make sense. The core question is there unrest in the state of Minnesota?
That's a much more complicated question than the very simple facts relating to Renee's shooting. If you can't even understand the simple facts, you don't deserve to be in a conversation.
Okay, I want to hear from Nicholas Decker. He's been trying to get in. Go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to carve out the position that there is no state of insurrection in Minnesota, and this is kind of laughable. And the last time the Insurrection Act was invoked with the Rodney King riots, I don't think that this is anywhere comparable to the Rodney King riots. Like it's not even comparable to 2020. So I think it's absurd on its face. You know.
What?
Yeah. I just wanted to put that on the record. I guess. Carry on.
That's fine. I guess well, let's start with there. And I want to ask Hunter and I want to ask Drew. Like we can get to the question of insurrection in a minute, but I am just curious. Do you think that DHS has lied about the Renee Good shooting?
No.
No. Okay.
Is she a domestic terrorist?
I haven't. That's obviously a matter of opinion. Like that's not a falsifiable.
It's a matter of opinion. If the president of the United States says that she's a domestic terrorist,
yes, that's obviously like a characterization. It's
I mean, do words not have meaning anymore? If you're gonna say somebody is a domestic terrorist, then they're a fucking domestic terrorist, you fucking moron. Then we have to measure them by the same standards we measure Osama bin Laden. You absolute fucking domestic terrorist. What? Who else? The Unabomber? That's a domestic, right? That has to be.
an extreme characterization, but it's like what would falsify that? Like or prove it right?
Okay.
Like,
Enough with the audio things. Okay.
It's like if you said
that's
somebody's lying because like they
Also, G-Master, I unbanned you from YouTube, okay? You should be able to chat there now. My bad. I said that I would unban you after you donate, and you donated. So.
said someone's like a really, really evil bad person when they're only a moderately bad person. Like that's not. There's no way to adjudicate that.
Okay. Nicholas is trying to get in. Go ahead, Nicholas.
I
would like to offer the counter.
I love food shops. Well, I love you too. Is that good enough? Is that the e-girl thing? Did I do the e-girl thing?
Position that Hunter has as a pedophile. But this is not, in fact, a matter of opinion, but attested to by their own statements. And that I think if somebody made the characterization that somebody was a pedophile or a domestic terrorist or any other sort of insult like that, making it, if it were totally groundless, would in fact be lying about them. Now, it isn't lying in this case.
I worked on my budget just for you. What the fuck?
It's not something anyone can control, so I kind of, I apologize for dirty tricks, but yeah.
What?
Okay, well that's ridiculously false. But I think I would much rather have the conversation, Decker, that you wanted to have at the beginning, which is a substantive conversation on immigration. Because I think if we're just endlessly haggling about like the minute details of what exactly one video shows or another, we're not addressing anything that could actually change anyone's deep substantive position. Right? Clearly, people's views on ICE operations in Minnesota are entirely predictable based on their views about immigration in general.
True.
Right?
I think
If people think that we should have more.
Let Hunter finish. Let Hunter finish, and then you can respond.
Do you think 30 million people came in illegally under Biden, like Trump has said over and over again?
We probably don't know exactly how many people came in illegally. That's
So it could be a billion people. You think it could be a billion people? Could it be? I mean, do you think it could be a billion people?
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Ever.
Thank you so much for the $5.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Ever.
Why does it say it like that?
Just a drink.
Stop.
martini, shaken,
Dude, now you're just
Bravo.
abusing it. Oh no, here.
Just a drink.
Stop, 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 stop,
Bravo.
stop. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, okay? Okay, thank you.
Hopefully we can put ranges around it that are more or
You
less
think it could be
likely.
500 million people?
No,
Mexican.
there's a
Could it
probability
be
distribution. of how
50
many
million people?
No, that's probably unlikely.
Okay, 30 million though?
More likely.
More likely.
It's very
Okay.
silly.
And
No, but just
That's
very
2
silly and
times.
not worth
Yeah, that's almost 3 times the amount of total illegal immigrants that were in the United States prior to Biden there. So Donald Trump says 30 million. Does it bother you that he's given no proof of that number? You're saying it's on a distribution. Donald Trump doesn't say it's on a distribution. He said this is the upper end of a normal distribution. That this is a...
Yeah, obviously he's a politician, and like if they spoke like that, almost
okay.
nobody would understand them. Like,
Okay,
what
that's
you
my case.
say-
Then he shouldn't invoke the Insurrection Act. He's a politician. He's going to lie about everything. Man. I can't trust him. So no Insurrection Act. That's my position.
Strictly speaking, a normal distribution is unbounded in any direction. So a billion would also be equally true under the standard. And in fact, any number would be equally true.
Well, not
So that's
equally.
very silly.
It's weighted by the likelihood of it having happened.
Just
So
a
you're saying
drink.
that he like
A martini,
90%.
shaken, not
He like
stirred.
most.
Yeah, I'm
he's
saying
not a
he-
100%.
Thank you, Corey, for the
Just a drink.
$5.
It's just a very, very.
He's giving
close
a
to being
relatively
100%.
exaggerated, improbable figure. Yeah.
Screw you.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Relatively inaccurate, improbable figures that are much higher than what actually happened to the best of our knowledge.
But also, we don't
Not
know
a
exactly. Like, how could we possibly know how many illegal immigrants are actually in the country with any degree of reliability? Like, how?
This
how
is the
would we
guy
know?
that I'm supposed to trust to use the Insurrection Act, right? And to trust to deploy troops and federal agents against U.S. citizens. This is the guy who lies as a politician.
You keep on using ancillary points. The core question is there civil unrest in the state of Minnesota right now? There is civil
We
unrest.
can't agree on what happened with the shooting. We can't agree on how many illegal immigrants came to the United States. How can we agree on a state of insurrection? Is there a problem?
The shooting isn't even the core thing here. The core thing is there civil unrest in the state of Minnesota? And yes, there is civil unrest. There are people who are
How
violently
can I
attacking
trust that?
ICE.
How can I trust? I don't know if I can trust that
Because
because apparently when they put it to paid agitator terrorists,
That's
how do I know
just
they're assaulting
the Renee Good thing is completely ancillary to the point. Is there a state of civil unrest in the state of Minnesota right now? Yes, there is. Are there
How do you know?
attacks on ICE
How do
agents
you
in
know?
the state
How
of
do you know there are
Minnesota
attacks
right
on ICE?
now?
How do you know there are attacks on ICE agents?
Because there are videos of this everywhere. It's very
Yeah,
easy to see.
hey,
I
Drew,
mean,
just real quick, just real quick, please. Oh my God, Drew.
Send me a clip of one of the videos and we'll watch it on screen if you'd like.
And you have to prove that it's not a deepfake AI as well, also. And I'm going to need the birth certificate of the guy, and it's got to be better than Obama's because we didn't trust that one either. Remember, go for it.
This is retarded.
I agree. Thank you. Yes, I agree, King.
No, it's retarded to bring up birth certificates or whatever. There's literal footage of
There was
people.
footage of Renee Goodman as well, but we can't agree on that either, so-
There's photographs of like Will Stancil, the famous Twitter guy, just like chasing after ICE agents in his car and just
Yeah,
like
there
blowing
were photographs of
And so-
documents that were classified strewn across the floor of Mar-a-Lago. We don't believe in that either, so why should I believe in any of these photographs?
Okay, can I back up
This
to
is
like
retarded.
being the
There's
illegal
no-
question?
there's
Just
no-
one quick.
the thing.
Drew, go ahead. Keep going.
They are trying to use completely ancillary points to just bog down the debate, bog down the whole thing. They can't.
Well, no, he's using conservative tactics to demonstrate his point, right? I heard that someone said that, oh, Destiny was doing the, I don't know, but bad if it's true, thing that conservatives do, okay? Yeah, no, you should be using tactics like that. You should be using tactics like that because fuck them, okay? That's what. Fuck all these motherfuckers, okay? Fucking dog-ass traitors. Also, why the fuck are we letting fucking Drew Pablo, who lives in Australia, like tell us what to believe? Fuck this motherfucker, okay? Fuck this hoe, okay?
Isn't that frustrating when people can't agree on reality and so you can't have a conversation about literally anything? That's gotta suck. Huh?
The whole question is, oh wow, Trump lied
About everything. About 6 months ago, Trump, 6 seconds ago. If he's breathing, he's lying.
Oh wow, Trump has exaggerated statements in the past. Therefore, a state of civil unrest in the state of Minnesota is justified. That's your argument. It's retarded. That's a
If
retarded
Renee Good
argument.
being a terrorist is your opinion, man, then a state of civil unrest, that's just your opinion, man.
We haven't even said Renee Good is a terrorist. We haven't said anything like that. We're
Donald
simply
Trump
talking
is
about.
the one who's going to have to make an evaluation for whether or not he should invoke the Insurrection Act.
There is there's demonstrated evidence of far left groups going around harassing ICE agents in the state of Minnesota right now, and you can't defend that.
Which
so you
far
just
left
try and
group?
hold
Which far
down
left
the
group?
government. You know as well as I do that there are amorphous
Far left
groups.
group. Name one.
There are amorphous groups. We
one.
all know that, Destiny.
Name one. What group? No.
Wow. Sorry, it needs to have.
Oh my God.
It needs to have
Maybe not a name.
Okay.
This is retarded. Sorry, this is obviously retarded. I mean,
Hold on, all of you, please.
We all know.
Drew,
We all know.
give me a minute. Give me a minute, Drew. Drew, give me a minute.
Let me finish my point.
I will in a second, but you gotta let me do some
hate
housekeeping
you.
here.
You
guys keep yelling over each other.
I
You
was
can't
cut
do
off.
anything.
I was cut off.
I know you're cut off. I'm gonna give you the mic as soon as I say this. I'm gonna give you
Okay,
the mic back as soon as I say this.
Sure.
But I'm just reminding everyone, if we're going to yell over each other, if we're going to talk over each other constantly, no one can hear anything. But we do got to kind of try to get order in this court, and we do got to want to go and answer each other's questions when they are asked. So, Drew, you have the mic again. You've claimed there's civil unrest. Give us your argument, and then we'll talk about it.
We all know that these kinds of anarchist groups don't have, formal charters. They don't have, they're not as organized. For example, oh, this is retarded. Destiny's literally retarded. Destiny's a cuck. He has been cucked so many times. His wife divorced him because he's a cuck. And he is a terrible father. And his own son attests to the fact that Destiny is one of the best fathers of all time.
Go back
So
to
it's just embarrassing.
Go back to the unknown group. Go ahead,
I
tell us, Drew.
was
Tell us,
actually
Drew, the
going
unnamed
to.
group. Quick, China's coming to take you again, Drew, for the 50th time. China's coming to abduct you. Give us more of the unnamed group, Drew. Go.
This is completely retarded. I was actually going to avoid personal attacks against Destiny, but he actually put a sign behind it that said,
Until I
"Hey, Drew."
played soundboards.
Destiny, Destiny actually put up a sign behind it that said Drew probably should hang himself. So obviously this isn't a good faith debate. This is just retarded.
Wait, what?
And yeah, Destiny's just retarded.
Somebody donated that. Sorry, that is pretty funny though, and you should.
Come on. Okay, come on.
Can I back up to how you
Go ahead,
illegal
Nicholas. Please say
immigrants? The thing is if you had 30 million illegal immigrants come, right, and they aren't registered in like a regular population figure, they are going to show up in either the economic output figures or they're going to show up in welfare or something, right? So you can that's how they make estimates, right?
Destiny.
No, let Nicholas finish. Let Nicholas finish.
Okay.
Let Nicholas finish. Okay.
And so this is something of a conspicuous omission. I have not seen anything remotely alleging that many immigrants. I tend to believe the estimates of how many legal immigrants there are out there, and that's why I'm inclined to think that not only is there aren't 30 million illegal immigrants here right now, there's certainly not 30 million that came in a 4-year period. It would have shown up in economic outcomes, and it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to accept that. So what's the most accurate figure you've seen?
It's around 10 million.
Okay.
And it varies, but because people cross back and forth, there's a considerable especially in the agricultural sector. But people come here, they work a few years, they go back home because this is higher paying, but you're away from family or whatnot, and you go back home. That's that.
So significant error bars, but centered around
I would not say that there are significant error bars, and I really have to push back against that.
Okay. Yeah. So you think that the estimates are pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to flag. I doubt this is how things are actually going to go. Mainly because I don't think Destiny will let them go that way. But I agree with you.
No, I did the thing wrong. I did the thing wrong. Oh fuck. Oh no. Wait, hold on. I did the thing wrong. Oh my god.
Accurate that the more interesting way we could spend this time is having the substantive debate about the merits of immigration. But whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, just to be clear for my point, to be clear, right? This is not an adult conversation when conservatives aren't capable of.
Well, you're the one who literally. You went in here, Destiny. Destiny went in here with a sign that said, "Hang
Drew. Hey, Drew. Let Destiny go for a little bit, and then you can respond. I promise.
Destiny, does it make you feel sad that your ex-wife fucked another man?
Okay.
Does it make you feel bad that
okay, enough.
Your ex-wife literally fucked other men? That's pretty sad.
Drew, I'm gonna mute you.
He's going really hard on me. He's going really hard. Can you save me? Okay. So conservatives have lost the right to have a serious conversation about anything related to immigration when they lie about almost every single subject that is related to this topic. It is deeply unserious to me that a conservative would throw a fit when you're trying to discuss anything and they just lie about anything related to the topic. So if you're going to say 30 million people came in illegally, right? 30 million people come in illegally.
He never said that.
Donald Trump said that.
Okay, that's not what Hamish said. You're debating us right now, not Donald Trump.
I'm talking about the United States of America, okay? The country that you prayed every day that you were from, okay? I know you're mad that you have to be in your fucking shithole Australia, but I'm talking about the United States. The United States of America right now, Donald Trump is the president.
You're debating us, not Donald Trump. You're not debating Donald Trump.
That's fine. I don't care whether I'm debating Donald Trump or his cum socks. I'm having a conversation about U.S. policy right now. Donald Trump's the president, okay? So for Donald Trump and the conservatives to lie about every single topic peripheral to immigration, and then to try to come to the table and say, well, now we need to have a serious fact-based discussion related to whether or not we can invoke the Insurrection Act. There's no reason to trust this administration to responsibly wield any kind of power like that, irrespective of the fact that they've already lost in multiple court cases with their forcible deployment of the National Guard to other states, with their deployment of the Marines to California, with their inability to accept any of the state's autonomies with how they want to do any of their local policing. Why would I trust this administration? The lies are just one part of it. Why would I trust this administration when they can't engage with the fact of the matter, literally anything, to responsibly wield any kind of federal deployment related to the Insurrection Act? It's nonsense to me. It's not a serious conversation.
And to translate that a little bit, and this is to Hunter and to Drew, how can the public trust this administration to wield their power, correct?
And let me wait, and then I get about the answer, but just to add to that, so it seemed like a joke earlier when I was asking what groups. Donald Trump and the rest of the conservatives have said for a decade that there are mass paid agitators and paid protesters, and they claim that Renee Good was part of one of these paid groups. If these groups are fictitious and they don't even exist, and if Donald Trump has taken the exceptional step to use an executive order for the first time that I'm aware of in U.S. history to label a domestic group a terrorist organization, Antifa or whatever, why would I trust him to send in any kind of insurrection-acted authorities to go after who? I don't know who's going to go after. The Democratic Party, liberals in general, or who? Yeah,
you got to let him answer. Okay,
yeah,
go to Hunter, then we'll get to Drew, and then we'll see what they have to say. Go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, so on the groups issue, this is from Reuters. This is with respect to Renee Good. Good was active as a volunteer in a network of neighborhood patrols comprising hundreds of community members and organized by local activists to track, monitor, and record ICE operations in Minneapolis. According to Michelle
why are we, we're not even discussing whether or not, okay, guys, we're not even discussing whether or not Renee Good was even in any, whether the officer was justified in shooting it. We're disagreeing on, literally the fucking key facts, okay? We can't argue. Here's the thing, all right? And some of you guys might disagree with me on this, okay? I could see a scenario in which the officer is actually shooting because he's panicked, because it's self-defense, right? You guys realize that, right? Because I can argue, somehow from my perspective, I could say that, right? That somehow the officer could be justified, right? In thinking in that time. But I can't argue that if we can't agree on the key facts, okay? you have to, you guys realize this is the winning strategy, right? The winning strategy isn't to say, no, the officer didn't really have any reason to believe it. The winning strategy is we can't even agree on the facts. How the hell can we argue for anything or argue for like literally anything if we can't even agree on what's happened, right? Like, let's not even talk about any kind of moral prescriptions that we can just like shove into this, okay? Forget about that. Forget about like, oh, whether or not the officer was justified. Like, I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't give a fuck. We're disagreeing on like the core facts. The officer was ran over by Renee Good. Have you seen the fucking video, mate?
Gross, president of the Minnesota-based Community United Against Police Brutality, and she was a paralegal for the National Lawyers Guild, which is effectively a leftist activist organization. You can think it's a legitimate one, but it
Have
is
you
one.
even paid
So yes,
attention?
there absolutely are groups, and
Are you closing your eyes when you're watching
so
it?
she was paid. One of the organizers
Wait,
of one of the organizers of the church storming,
It's
right,
stupid.
that happened,
Don't go to church storming,
was
just focus
also
on
like
just pray.
a paid member of an activist nonprofit. So yes, absolutely, these people are being paid as members of these NGOs, and these are organizing the anti-ICE activities that are interfering with federal law enforcement very intentionally. So yes, I mean, if you want to, you can argue about whether the term terrorist is appropriate for an organized group of people who do have paid members who disrupt federal law enforcement, but the substance is there. Yeah, absolutely.
So the claim is that they are being. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to submit that I think to be a terrorist, one should have to commit terrorism, which generally involves, terrorism. So
what's your definition of terrorism?
like
Some kind of
shooting
armed
at
attack against the civilian
bombing,
population that's designed to incite terror in the civilian population.
following
Kinda
people
like what I was
around and glowing.
Ah, yeah, true. That's what ICE is doing. Yeah, 100%. And you know what? All of these crazy videos, every single one of these videos that people like Asmongold like to show when, when we're talking about like people demanding other to disavow ICE and white people raising hell about ICE and shit like that, these are my crackers, okay? Not your crackers, okay? These are my crackers, okay? These people are my people, okay? My albinos, okay? My Cracker Barrels, okay? My White Castle, all right? They're spitting the truth, okay? If an issue warrants so much attention that everybody has to try and create some kind of big, roust over it, you have to create some big attention shit over it, then fuck it, go for it. You have my fucking blessing, okay? You have my fucking blessing to be obnoxious. You have my fucking blessing to be rude. You have my fucking, yeah, I'll be annoyed at you. If I was in that position, yeah, I'll be fucking annoyed at you. Fuck you, okay? But you know what? If I really think about this, fuck it, okay? I don't give a fuck, okay? I'll change my opinion once I'm on the receiving end, okay?
But it's not terrorism.
Well,
I mean,
it's generally an act that instills terror in a civilian population.
Right. I mean, the
Well,
case is reasonable for the church invasion, and also, as we established earlier, there have been snipers, right? Like this is
They literally having sniper attacks. Literally sniper
What
terrorist attacks.
are
on
you
ICE
on
across the country.
about?
The one who killed the two immigrants?
yeah, accidentally. Does that make it better? Like,
That was a terrorist attack. He was trying to kill ICE agents.
It was a very foolish idea to shoot into a car with tinted windows. You never know what you're going to hit.
Yes, he was trying to kill ICE agents, obviously.
I love the way that Decker is very carefully walking right up to the edge of the things he can say. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's obvious that Nicholas Decker wants to say that the ICE agent should have been shot.
Is that hold on, Nicholas? Is that what you want to say?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not what he wants to say.
Nice dog whistle, bro. Nice dog.
Well, I'm gonna be totally real. If you take a $50,000 sign-on bonus, maybe your life, maybe you shouldn't complain that your life is in danger. Okay, you took a $50,000 sign-on bonus to be with ICE. If you get shot at, that's part of the job. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but you don't just take a $50,000 sign-on bonus and expect it to be like a walk in the park. Okay, it's a hardcore job for hardcore people. All right. Or in this case, the softest, most bloated Waffle House connoisseurs, all right? Your diabetes treatment is being subsidized by California, aka yours truly, all right? My content creation is subsidizing your healthcare, even though I don't want to, all right? You guys are some of the most pathetic, deranged freaks I have ever seen, okay? $50,000 sign-on bonus. Think about that. You get an entire year's worth of pay from somebody who works in the Midwest. All right? Fuck you. You don't deserve any sympathy. I don't give a fuck if you get shot at. Okay? I don't give a flying fuck. Okay? Should people be shooting at you? No. But do I feel bad for you? Hell no.
Dog whistle.
No, I appreciate it. Like, and
Yeah,
this
that's
is
a lot of
something I
donuts.
said before we were all on the call. But the thing I appreciate about Decker is that he takes principles to their logical conclusions. So, I get it. I get it, man.
Yeah.
Drew?
Yeah, I'm not sure of like how the next administration should deal with members of ICE. Like, I think that losing track of them in Manchuria would be impractical and bad.
Okay, why is this puzzle the SS? Okay, man. Okay, game.
Pursue,
Good one. Good meme.
Federal charges against the worst offenders.
Okay.
And
You should,
pretty
I think it would actually be a productive discussion whether Destiny and Nicholas should explain what they think that the
I
next
saw
Democratic
that.
administration should do to ICE.
Do you remember when
And
John
ICE
right
was
before
like,
John
what
did
the
before he quit
fuck?
Night's Watch? I'm trying to remember.
ICE individuals as well.
I think that they should prosecute crimes. I think they should prosecute the crimes committed, and they should also allow state agencies to go after them.
Is it a crime to enforce routine migrant? Is it a crime to enforce routine deportations of illegal immigrants? It is obviously a misdemeanor offense to illegally immigrate to America.
It's not a crime, no.
What are the crimes that you think
It is
have
a
been
crime.
committed?
It is a crime to kill somebody. It is a crime to deprive somebody of their civil rights.
I mean, are you stupid? Are you actually retarded? Obviously, it's not a crime to lie, right? But should you lie? Hell no, okay? So it's almost as if the morality is removed from the legality of shit, okay? Stupid moron. Fucking retard.
The term for excessive force, essentially.
Okay, excessive force would be relevant, but like killing somebody is not in all contexts,
right? Why do we keep lying with that? Why do we keep saying routine?
By virtue of two people talking, I could understand nothing that was said.
Okay, so Destiny's asking, hold on, let me clarify. Destiny's asking, why should we consider this routine? This is not routine. What would the response be to that?
Yeah, I mean, the wave of illegal immigration that happened under Biden was also not routine, and it's going to take something equally non-routine to reverse it.
How's that working out?
Pretty well. I mean, America has net negative immigration for the first time in, I don't know what, decades.
So wasn't it negative for the first time under the last 4 years of Obama?
The number of illegal immigrants here did drop,
No, that doesn't count because he's black, okay?
starting through Obama.
Chill.
Yeah, no,
I mean, net negative total immigration.
This is not due to enforcement policy, but it was due to the Great Recession. The best way to lower illegal immigration is to make the United States poorer, so that people don't want to come here and work.
But it hasn't become poorer. It's actually growing at a pretty fast clip right now.
No, it's not.
GDP growth is amazing right now. So
yeah, and our currency is devalued by like 10 to 15%.
Okay,
I mean,
no
this
stupid
is
shit
real
about currency
GDP.
devaluations. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
That was mine.
I do want to ask, this is to Destiny and to Nicholas, do you both think that it was appropriate for the ICE protesters to go into that church and disrupt the services there? So Nicholas says
Absolutely not. It was worse than a crime. It was a mistake.
I'm going to say this. Absolutely, yes. I have no idea what Destiny is going to say here. I have no idea. And frankly, I don't give a fuck, okay? I think the answer is yes. I'll tell you why, okay? They're creating attention, okay? They're trying to bring awareness to an issue that warrants making attention. We're discussing it right now because because that clip has gone viral, okay? We're discussing it right now because that clip has gone viral. I don't think we should even cede 1 fucking inch to these fascist ICE bootlicking dick suckers, okay? I don't think we should even cede a single cent. I have no idea what Destiny is gonna say. I don't give a fuck, okay? Frankly, I don't give a fuck either, okay? Maybe he's gonna say, okay, maybe they shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 but that isn't removed, whatever. I don't care, okay? I don't give a fuck, okay? It's obviously fucking insane. Okay, anyway.
It's Telegram would say, but that's basically my view on it.
Would you support them being prosecuted for that?
Yes, I mean, it would depend on the crimes they're being charged with. I think there are some crimes that would be definitely too excessive. I think that hate crimes or like conspiracy to commit hate crimes would be a stretch. I'm not a lawyer though. At a minimum, trespassing is like a very easy thing here, and it's like very obviously trespassing. So should evict and sue.
What do you think, Destiny? Of Don Lemon and the protesters going into the church, do you think that they were wrong to do so? Do you support them in doing so? What are your thoughts on the different styles of protests that have been going on?
Don Lemon went into a church?
So
Not him personally.
20, about 20 different protesters. They went into a church that allegedly.
I'm hearing this for the first time. I don't have an opinion on it. Sorry.
Oh, fair enough. No opinion on it and things like that. I guess overall, do you think that the protesters have gone too far at all from what you've seen?
No, I haven't heard any examples of that, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, the Beatles. Oh, Beatles. Okay. Bro. Again, I'm gonna say this, okay? Fucking based, okay? Nah, fuck it. Not gonna concede even 1 inch to these motherfuckers, okay? I know what clip they're talking about because Asmongold is the one that watched it, okay? I don't give a fuck, alright? He can cry and bitch and moan all he wants, okay? But when it comes to fighting fascism, there is no such thing as means to an end, okay? There's no such thing, alright? You you will do utmost. I will sacrifice American citizens. Okay? I will do it. I would, if I had the power, I would sacrifice American citizens to bring Trump down. Okay? I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. Okay? Don't make me. I'll fucking do it again. All right? This is the way. Okay? This is how it must be. All right? Antifa is unserious. Antifa wouldn't go. Antifa is probably a bunch of cringe lefties. But you know what? You know what? You know what? We are all Antifa now, okay? Whether or not we are even consenting to it, we are all Antifa, okay? We have been labeled Antifa by the enemy, all right? The enemy has labeled us Antifa. So it is time to become Antifa, okay? Anti-fascist. That is what Antifa means.
They attacked the church, for example. They attacked the church.
I haven't heard anything about that. Sorry, I haven't heard anything about that, so I'm not sure. I can't really have an opinion on it.
It was one of the most high-profile incidents of civil unrest in Minnesota.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
We're debating civil unrest in Minnesota.
Sorry, I haven't heard anything about that. I'm sorry, unfortunately.
Okay, well, fair-minded observers can obviously look at this and see that you're not engaging in good faith.
Just because I haven't heard about it?
Oh, it's obvious that you have heard about it, but you're just trolling.
How am I trolling? Because I haven't heard about a thing? What, I'm supposed to keep up with every single story?
Okay, never mind. His argument is even more retarded.
Civil unrest in Minnesota, and this was the most high-profile incident of civil unrest over the past few days. It was extremely violent on Twitter, which you use all the time.
Good meme.
Oh, interesting. Wait, so then was Renee, was the ice agent that killed Renee, was his car stuck in an ice bank?
Exactly. You're just trolling.
Oh, yeah.
I know what Steven's doing. He's doing the strategy, okay? He's doing the I don't know strat, but
You see how unfortunate that is? How fucking retarded you are? How called the fuck out you just were? Because you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Your memory selective. You want to get to the fact. Isn't that frustrating right there? The honest take on the church thing is, here's my questions. One, because I did watch the videos on this. Did anybody ever call the cops if they were rude or tell them to leave? I don't remember seeing it or hearing it. If they told them to leave and they didn't leave, my understanding is churches are private property, so you get arrested for trespassing. I hope that if they do get arrested for trespassing, the governor pardons every single one of them, like Donald Trump pardoned every single one of the fucking insurrectionists on January 6th, so that they can walk free and go and fucking do it again with no consequence. But if they were asked to leave and they didn't, then they would have broken a crime and they should be charged for it. And then the governor should pardon them immediately after, so they can do it again.
I don't think the governor should pardon them. It's for starters, it's like at most community service. At most, generally trespassing is you can't go back to this place. You know, if you do go back to this place, you will like actually get arrested and actually possibly have consequences. But a first-time trespassing is basically never any consequences at all. Frankly, nor should it be, because the point of trespassing is we need you to leave. You know, this is your very serious warning. Go away.
Do you have any thoughts on this, Hunter? Otherwise, I have another question for the panel.
Okay,
oh no, it's I think I don't feel much of a need to respond to most of the things Destiny says, because I think it's just very obvious to everybody who's going to be watching that he is not a good faith conversation participant. And one of my followers, when this conversation was announced, was like, "Oh God, get Destiny out of there." And for the record, this follower of mine agrees more with Decker's position and their position than
I feel like we can actually debate.
But you know, yeah, absolutely. I think we could, again, as I've said multiple times, have an interesting conversation on the merits of.
Yeah, but I don't want a fucking conversation. I want blood. I don't want an interesting conversation. We are so beyond conversation at this point. We are so beyond conversation at this point. How could you possibly say we are still at the phase of conversation? How could you possibly say that? There is a time for conversation, okay? When people aren't being shot in their cars, okay? There is a time and a place for conversation. Now is not the time for conversation. Now is the time to fight for our freedom.
Immigration, both legal and illegal, but yeah,
you can,
that is obviously not going to. Yeah, no, I know what you're going to do. Yeah, I know. But yeah, you can go ahead and ask your next question.
Okay, well, here's a question on the merits of immigration. Regardless of how you feel about immigrants coming to the country or not, do you acknowledge that it's not really factually disputed that immigrants coming to your country, even illegal immigrants, are both a net fiscal benefit or neutral at worst, and then an economic boon for the area where the illegal immigrant to? Do you guys acknowledge that?
No, there are plenty of examples where immigrants are not like a net fiscal benefit. Yes, obviously.
Hold on. This is a simple IQ check. Wait, this is a simple IQ check. If I were to tell you most women are shorter than most men, would your response be, well, that's crazy because I know a tall woman? Why would you say something so obviously fucking stupid? I'm saying even illegal immigrants tend to be a fiscal benefit to neutral effect, and they're an economic boon. On net. I'm not asking you about a specific illegal immigrant that you know or a specific example. Just on net.
Immigrants from first world countries are typically very productive. Immigrants from third world countries are typically unproductive.
No, that's not even true. You don't even know what productive or unproductive. You have no fucking idea.
Obviously, I mean, the fiscal impact obviously depends on like the broad category of immigrants. So immigrants with a high school education or less into the United States specifically, if we just want to look at the U.S. context, are somewhat of a net fiscal negative, right?
So this, yeah. To be clear, for context, most citizens are net fiscal negatives because
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I agree. That's true. Nicholas is right.
Hold on, but when you say most citizens are fiscal negative, right? Most illegal immigrants are coming in your worst fiscal years of your life. So because I know that Drew and Ash or whatever, Ketchum, don't know. Yeah, it's children and old people, correct. Fiscal means your government budgets, right? An illegal immigrant that comes in at the age of 18, you're stealing this person from another country, basically at prime working age. So you've missed out on that entire 18-year investment early on. So typically when they come in, and also because they don't have access to welfare because they typically work on social security numbers. It depends.
It depends. If you look at
what does net mean? Drew, what does net mean? What is net? Net. N-E-T, net.
You're actually extremely obnoxious. You can't even have an intellectual.
Because you're extremely retarded.
If you look at Britain and Denmark, there are studies that show that migration from third world countries typically has massive fiscal downsides because on the whole they have fiscal burdens on the state. And we look at, for example, the Somali community in Minnesota is 100% a fiscal net negative on the United States.
Denmark and Britain are not suitable comparisons to the United States for any question of net fiscal benefits because they have considerably more generous welfare states.
True, but Minnesota has a more. That is true. That is true. I agree with you on that. Nicholas. But Minnesota does have more generous welfare provisions than, for example, other states. And we know, for example, that the Somali community.
You're so not American.
It's true though. It is true. And yeah, de facto. And Minnesota, unfortunately, did see systematic basically looting by the Somali community in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
And as for how illegal immigrants collect welfare, beyond states that have gone out of their way to sort of provide their own systems that provide welfare benefits to people regardless of immigration status, also illegal headed households collect welfare at higher rates than both legal immigrants and native-born citizens, right? Because their children, based on the doctrine of birthright citizenship, are citizens, and they collect welfare for those children at substantially higher rates than either legal immigrants or citizens. So you can say, oh, that's not the illegal immigrants themselves collecting the welfare; it's their children who are citizens or whatever. But obviously, that's still relevant to the question of immigration, whether we want these people here.
I guess the question I have, right, is regardless of whether you like immigration or not, right? I guess the question at hand isn't really about immigration, though. It's about how we enforce it and whether or not in Minnesota they are obstructing enforcement, and if that is sufficient reason to invoke the Insurrection Act. So go ahead.
I guess I'm sort of like willing to change the topic to the question of immigration, just because I view the question of invoking the Insurrection Act as just so willfully stupid that I would think less of anyone who argued for it. And so there's nothing like really to discuss. You can either say that like there's an insurrection going on in Minneapolis. You could say things. That doesn't make it true.
Ask a nuclear question. If you consider there to be an insurrection, then what about? You guys know what to ask, right? What about January 6th?
So a much more interesting thing is then to like discuss. Okay, I have a few points related to immigration that I wanted to get out while I have the floor. First off, fiscal benefits is not necessarily the right thing to look at, right? Because there's uncaptured consumer surplus, and we're actually like trying to maximize welfare, not government revenues. So even finding if there's small fiscal negative or even some large fiscal negative, if you compare them to other people in the country and the amount of surplus they're creating, it's still better to have them in. Secondly, I firmly believe that there are increasing returns to aggregate population, and I would really challenge my interlocutors to come up with sound micro foundations for why you would have decreasing or even constant returns to scale in a modern economy. And I also think that a pattern of immigration enforcement that is just characterized by a weird hostility to immigrants is likely going to I think the elasticity of relatively well-to-do first world immigrants to like cultural hostility is much greater than the elasticity of third world of developing country immigrants, right? So I think that if you like have a much more rhetorically hostile environment for immigrants, I think that is going to deter the English-speaking immigrants, and it's going to do much less deterrence of non-English-speaking immigrants. So I think this is in fact a self-defeating policy to be extremely hostile.
Hey,
we've lost people because of this.
Yeah, I want to give a chance for Drew and Hunter to respond to that. So go ahead.
Sure. So if you don't mind if I go first, like these are substantive points that can be responded to. And so yes, you're correct. First of all, no contest on the claim of superlinear returns of population, all else held equal, and that's sort of a big caveat. But yeah, I don't have any objection to that. You're also right that somebody's impact on state budgets does not capture their entire economic impact. But even if you show that essentially that subsidizing these people has had some sort of like pro-growth effect, you would have to go further and show that this is the most effective way for the state to deficit spend even more to grow the economy, since that's essentially what we're doing. If we bring somebody in and then subsidize net subsidize their existence here, that is a form of government deficit spending that to grow the economy, and you would have to argue that this is the most effective way to do that. But I do want to get to this really quick. I think the biggest issue in terms of how immigration is likely to impact economic growth going into the future is how people vote, right? If you look at pretty much any issue that's economically relevant, most of the people that are immigrating are going to be relatively more socialist than the current population, and that will have really negative impacts on economic growth over the long time, much deeper impacts than whatever their personal contribution.
This is not a real argument. This is so fucking retarded. You have no idea, bro. I'm like losing brain cells just listening to these so-called people. Like, can you even call them people? Are they even real people? We shouldn't be letting in immigrants because their ideology is socialism and it would be bad for the United States long term. Are you a fucking baby? Did you just crawl out of your mom's vagina like 2 seconds ago? Hello? Do you have any kind of economic background? Why is this the first time I've ever heard of this ever? Are you stupid?
And that is my biggest issue with immigration.
I have a question on that, if I may just elaborate.
Destiny's response to that. Destiny was shaking his head, so I'd like to see his response.
No, that was just such a retarded point. I don't even know.
So
I would have to take like 5 shots in order to actually respond substantively.
So I'm in agreement with Hunter on the question of like immigrant voting behavior being the main constraint on open borders. But so like Garrett Jones, for example, makes this argument. But the conclusion of Garrett Jones is actually we should have open borders with China. Actually, we should have open borders with Western Europe. Or actually, we should have open borders with Eastern Europe. And I think that those are all much better policies and would result in a much greater flow of immigrants than anything proposed. And I think that I guess we haven't actually got to the hostility point mattering.
So, aside from,
I've got to respond to that.
Go ahead.
I mean, Nicholas, you know as well as I do that the Somali community in Minnesota the Somali community in Minnesota has been the recipient of very strong rhetorical support from the Democrat local and state officials in that state. And it's really only been like the last year or two that they've been coming into massive attack by, for example, the federal authorities. But prior to that, even despite having massive
that's just not true. Why are you saying that? All the investigations of the Biden DOJ, these charges were filed in 2023.
You can distinguish rhetoric and
Yeah, you actually misheard me, Destiny. I'm talking about, so the point is, Nicholas is talking about rhetoric from politicians creating a hostile environment towards immigrants. And I'm saying that there's actually been a very positive environment towards, for example, Somali migrants in the state of Minnesota under the Democrats. And that still did not, for example, stop them from engaging in quite systematic behavior, for which Destiny points out led to major charges by Democratic authorities in 2023.
No, Mr. Pavlo, you've totally misunderstood what I'm saying. I'm saying that the largely English-speaking like immigrants from Western Europe are much more put off by anti-immigrant rhetoric generally than your immigration from developing countries. So
I mean, that's true. I actually agree with you on that point.
Okay.
Cool. Actually, I agree with you on that point. And I actually think you are right that if you had basically open borders with first world people from Western Europe, then that would work well, to be honest. It actually would.
Sure.
The major problem is people coming from extremely poor countries with very low trust. Very low trust society, really poor countries.
Then the second, what follows up here is the general thuggishness and stupidity of ICE is going to change the relative composition of immigrants towards the people who you don't want. So
so just so I understand your argument is that because of the anti-immigrant rhetoric coming out of Trump and the MAGA, and also the behavior of ICE to brutalize people are pushing away first world immigrants and not having any effect on immigrants from developing countries. Is that your argument?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Because
I think there's actually something to be said for that. I think you're actually right about that.
No, actually, I think that it's an interesting story, but has that been empirically borne out at all? I mean, like, southern border crossings are at historic lows. It really does seem like the deterrent effect has worked on third world immigrants. As for your, I think I can sort of, I know where you're coming from in terms of the sort of Robin Hanson-esque immigration maximalism and how voting's the main constraint of that, and obviously.
Why the fuck is that a good thing? Shouldn't we make immigration higher? Stupid moron. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Foodshops. Thank you for streaming. No.
Just a drink.
Please.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, Foodshops. Thank you for streaming.
No, you are.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, Foodshops. Thank you for streaming.
No, thank you for watching.
We're not going to institute a UAE style, sort of permanent surf caste situation to handle immigration in a way that doesn't impact, electoral outcomes. But yeah, I mean, my only concern with open borders with China, mainland China, would be the obvious security risk. But as far as, a much more lenient immigration policy towards Europe, right, and maybe even towards granted, these places aren't, they're hardly producing surplus people, so I don't know how many would
I
come,
guess,
but,
yeah.
certain like Pacific Asian countries that have proven themselves to be highly compatible, like Taiwan, Japan, Korea, yeah, I'm open to that. I'm not like in principle against all immigration.
Yeah, before we go too just real quick,
can I say one thing?
I'll give the mic to you, I promise. Okay,
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that route, I want to kind of bring it back a little bit towards ICE in general, right? I understand that Nicholas here doesn't want to talk about the Insurrection Act, so fair enough. But we're going to talk about ICE in general, and this is to Drew and to Hunter here. Do you think that the behavior of ICE in Minneapolis, or just in general, has been at all acceptable?
So I want to respond to this. I quickly wanted to address that previous point made by Hunter. I actually think that you could essentially have almost open borders with countries that are above 0.9 on the HDI, and it would probably be fine. If you're basically just talking about like first world industrialized developed countries with high trust backgrounds, you could probably. I mean, Australia could have.
So wordy. You're so wordy. Just say countries with white people. Could you say what you mean?
No, because that's literally not
white Asian. Sorry.
No, that's literally not even what I was going to say. Because I was going to say Australia could literally have open borders with Japan, and I don't think there'd be a single problem with that probably.
Sorry. What is Japan? Not white or Asian? I forget.
It's an East Asian country, obviously. But it's not actually about race. It's about whether it's a high trust society and whether it's a developed society, and whether.
Bro, the women in Japan don't want your stinking ass, okay? They don't want your fucking unkempt, fucking smelly, fat, bloated, fucking stupid, dumb fuck ass, okay? They take one look. Your BMI is above 19. They don't want you, okay? Get out of here.
We have cultural similarities. So there are three points of that. The second part, do I agree with every single thing that ICE has done? I actually disagree with a lot of the things. I think that they shouldn't go around in masks, and I think that they should have identifiable name badges, and the operations that they go should be a lot more, by the book. I think they should be subject to the rule of law, and they shouldn't be going around with masks and stuff like that. That said, I acknowledge the role that far left agitators have played in obviously inciting a lot of fear. There have been direct physical attacks on ICE agents, and I can understand why that creates a lot of tension and it puts a lot of heat into the equation.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay. I was just going to say that, like, as I take a harder position than Drew here, actually. I think that the masks are justified by the fact that obviously these people would dox ICE agents and then try to make their lives as uncomfortable as possible, whether they would do that through technically legal means or, all the way up to, actual violent crimes that would be committed against them. I don't think there's any serious doubt that people
how many violent
wait, just a quick thing. This is why I'm just playing video games. This is a deeply unserious conversation because he's going to say no to this. Would you agree that Donald Trump, when he gives the name of family members of, say, like a judge presiding on his case, that's a thing that could severely elevate the risk to those people?
Has that happened?
I disagree with Trump.
That's why this is a deeply unserious conversation. It's just not a serious.
I'll let you just straight up say I think that's wrong if Trump does that, and if he has done it in the past, I'll condemn it. I don't think that's right.
Cool. You never heard about that though, right? This is why I haven't heard about the other thing. Whatever you're talking about, ICE agents?
No. I'm sure.
Really? That's crazy.
I'm sure that Trump has.
Lemon in a Christian church? Really? I don't know anything about that.
I was actually agreeing with Destiny, but he's just being obnoxious. Because I actually don't. I'm not 100%. I don't agree with every single thing that Trump has ever said or done. So there are obviously cases where he intimidated legal officials, and I think that's wrong.
Would you here? Let me step in a little bit here.
Debating conservatives is like giving your little brother or sister the controller that's not plugged in. Like this is just an like you're talking about corruption.
You're literally not even arguing.
Yeah, because you
literally haven't made a single subpoena.
Okay, so question. You're worried about. Okay, here's
there actually has been. There's actually been a substantive discussion between Hunter, me, and Nicholas. Just for some, he's not even involved in the conversation.
So you're worried about corruption in the United States or something. That's why you're worried about unbounded immigration from China or whatever. Are you worried about the fact that the president of the United States has a crypto coin that allows people to donate to him without any trace?
I think the crypto coin's bad.
Like worse than anything else that's been done in terms of open access corruption to the president that we know of in recent U.S. history?
I just said to you that I think the crypto coin's bad.
I didn't ask if it was bad. I said, is it worse than any corruption the president's been involved? Very bad. Listen to how fucking spineless and pucky your language is. Very bad. I'm asking the worst thing that a president has done. Oh my God.
It doesn't then justify Somali community in Minnesota engaging.
No, but it does justify. It does.
Which is essentially your argument. Which is essentially your argument.
Which is essentially your argument. In corruption in mind, it's just partisan hackery. You're using topics that you can do to attack whatever brown people or whatever Democrats you want, but you don't actually give a fuck about the topics. Because if I were to search your Twitter, it's going to be totally fucking empty in terms of criticizing the rampant corruption that this administration has been involved in. You can't find a single piece of corruption that would be worse in all, or combined pieces that would be worse than single pieces of corruption that I could bring up. What about the fact that Donald Trump's son got his company got a $700 million contract from the DOD? What about all the stuff related to Palantir? What about the 2 crypto scams that Donald Trump is running? What about the fact that in Mar-a-Lago, if you were part of the top 25 donors, there's crypto coins, you're going to sit down meeting with the president of the United States? None of these things are things you care about. But you go, well, for immigration, we care about Somalis because there was an organization that did $105 billion in fraud. You don't care about it. You just hate them because they're brown or whatever the fuck political talking point you got. That's it. It's not a serious conversation.
I do think the fraud in Minnesota compares.
Nebraska Steve is so back. Nebraska Steve is so back. Where was this Nebraska Steve? I missed him. Stop being nice.
In comparison to the organized looting of the treasury by disabled veterans. So I think that we should fight the real enemy here.
Disabled
and
veterans?
not Somalis. Yes.
Okay.
I know what Decker's talking about here. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I have a.
Yeah, no, I mean, so like the thing is, obviously, like hold on,
N
just real quick, Hunter,
in
just real quick,
Steven's
just real
name
quick,
stands
so,
for.
I mean, just to back up Destiny a little bit here, even though he's obviously not taking it as seriously as he should.
I did. It's a serious question.
Let me. Yeah,
Taking it seriously,
I'm asking. I'm making them answer your question. Like there has been huge proven fraud from President Donald Trump. And why, like, I guess, why should voters care about the Somali stuff when we have President Trump, if those things that he said was true, looting the treasury through crypto coin, pay to play, basically, saying the top 25 donors get access, having his son get a $700 million contract, the bribery from Qatar of $600 million plane. Like, and this is to Hunter, just real quick, Nicholas. I want Hunter to answer, right? Like, why should anyone care about what Somali's doing when the president's doing that?
I mean, I see that as essentially a non sequitur. Like, if you can point to any instance where these things have been connected to policy changes that have been bad for the United States, right? Like somebody paid us to do some policy.
Do you think it's
that's
bad
for
that the
United
president's
States.
doing these things? Like, bad for the United States overall?
I mean, I would have to look into every individual instance of this to see if the facts are being characterized correctly. But
Sure,
like
I
the crypto coin
It's
is
shameless,
stupid.
bro. Oh my god, you have no shame. You're like not even human. It's like a snake, like slithering through the fucking guard. You're crazy. If I looked into any of these individual instances of fraud, I'm not sure any. I bet that if I were to hold a gun to your head and give you a picture, a blank piece of paper, and I were to tell you to draw from memory the bottom of Hunter Biden's cock, I bet you'd be able to do it. But you don't know anything about some of the most rampant corruption that has ever existed in all of U.S. history, and you're living through it. You don't know the details on any of it. You're clueless. It just shows you don't care about the corruption. That's it. Like it's a super simple thing. Like how could you pretend to care about corruption and not know any of these stories? It's because you don't care about corruption. It's because it's a partisan hackery bullshit point.
It's funny that you bring up I think it's funny that you bring up the charge of partisan bullshit hackery when Destiny the entire time in this debate has basically been resorting to full Carl Schmitt friend-enemy distinction politics. And essentially all of Destiny's politics are just Carl Schmitt friend-enemy distinction politics.
Name one.
Name one. I mean, you literally started the debate with a big portrait behind your head that said, Drew Pavlik, hang yourself because I've got a disagreement.
Drew Pavlik, you're not, first of all, that's a dono that comes from a fan, number one. Okay, number two, that's not politics. That's just me making fun of you because you're somebody who should be made fun of. So name one policy. You said that I made partisan hackery.
I'll give you actually good point. You said that every single person who invaded the church should be pardoned simply because they're Democrats. Simply because
that's not partisan. That's literally symmetry. What do you mean?
No, that's literally. Are you retarded? That's literally Schmittian friend-enemy distinction policy. You're saying because Trump did something bad, my friend should get anything.
Hold on, just real quick.
It was a legal thing. My bad.
Just real quick. So, as I understand friend-enemy distinction politics, just real quick, as I understand, and perhaps I'm wrong and you can correct me, but as I understand friend-enemy distinction politics isn't that they did something, so now we have to do something. It's these are my friends and my allies. Just real quick, let me finish. These are my friends and my allies, so I am going to make sure that I'm going to overlook the things that they do that is wrong, and I'm going to give them things. And then
that's exactly what Destiny.
In order for that to be true, it would have to be me saying the J6 partner was wrong, but we should do it on our side because it's right. That's the friend-enemy distinction you're talking about. We should do the same thing because it's the same thing. That's not what I'm making. Drew, listen to how mind-raped you are now. Drew, right now, you're saying that I'm partisan because we should have the same rules that the Republicans have. Mind-raped you are right now.
Every single person
Your mind
in the church invasion.
every time you speak, I hear.
Hold on, let Drew finish. Drew, go ahead.
It is literally friend-enemy distinction policy. You said that because Trump pardoned Gen 6 rioters, therefore Democratic governments should pardon any single leftist involved in rioting. That is what you said.
Did I say that? I just said for the church. Were there people rioting the church? Did anybody get hurt? Was there any property destruction?
I mean, there was an attack on people who were simply going about their.
Really, Destiny, stop the fucking audio.
That's a donut thing. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that cut that out. But I am curious because I don't know. Was anyone hurt at the church?
Was anybody injured there? Drew? You said they were attacking people. Oh, it doesn't matter. The facts don't matter. The facts don't matter.
They went into a church that was in the middle of a sermon and they attacked the sermon.
Hold on, stop. Who was hurt? I want to know who was hurt.
Trump's loads or?
No, I want to know who was hurt. I actually don't know, and I'm very curious.
So because nobody was particularly stabbed in this incident.
No, I'm not asking stabs. Who was hurt? Who was hurt?
It is an attack. They attacked the church sermon in the middle of the sermon.
Okay, what was destroyed? Like, did they flip tables? Did they whip out money changers? What happened?
Jesus did more damage when he went to the temples to flip the tables of the gamblers.
No, hold on, Stacey, please. I want to know what happened here. What happened?
I agree.
Oh my god, wait a second. Wait, was Steven here when I reacted to the Asmongold segment on the church thing? Wait, was Steven here? You guys realize that was the same exact stream where Steven called in, right? Where Asmongold made that exact analogy. Wait.
They went into the middle of a church in the middle of a sermon and they disrupted the sermon. That was an attack on people enjoying their right to religious liberty.
I don't think that falls under the usual meaning of the word attack, which generally involves attacking. So.
They disrupted a church service and basically violated the right to religious liberty of people who were going about the day as peaceful Christians. And so that was an attack on a religious service. They disrupted the service. It was an attack, and Destiny thinks. Oh, sorry. You think it's just the equivalent of a stand-up comedian being heckled? It's a church sermon.
Hold on. Do you think that
in the middle of a sermon?
Do you think that, Nicholas? Do you think it's a? equivalent?
Okay, here's
You
how
walk in there, you make a lot of noise, make a fool out of yourself.
here's how
Can I ask you a serious question? I'll ask you a question. Serious question. Let me finish my point. You can talk. It's about this. It's about this. It'll be serious. Okay, I'm serious. Okay, just so we can understand what you consider attack. Let's say that a guy eats a fuck ton of just the most rancid beans ever, goes into a church full well knowing that he's about to unleash.
No, this is retarded.
Okay, stop. Enough.
This actually is.
Stop. Destiny, stop. Destiny, stop. Destiny, stop. Calm down.
This is legitimately friend enemy distinction politics, because if somebody had done that to a Muslim service, you would be crying. 100% you'd be crying. If Zoran Mamdani was in a mosque and there was a religious service and a bunch of Republicans went in and disrupted the service, you would say that the service had been attacked. So this is just pure friend enemy distinction politics.
Okay.
No, it is friend enemy distinction politics. It certainly is. You would hate it. You would hate it if people disrupted a Muslim service that say Zoran was partaking in. But you're just fine. You're fine though because there's a bunch of
Muslim lover in the United States. Destiny, that's me. Yeah.
No, but you would 100% cry though.
I do want to bring this back to more serious.
If right wingers had attacked a Muslim service in the United States, both Nicholas and Destiny would condemn it.
Okay, I guess.
Not if attack means protest. I don't know what attack means right now. In your definition.
It was obnoxious and a bad idea, as I have described the incident in Minneapolis.
If 20 MAGA supporters went into a Muslim service that was, that Zoran Mamdani was a part of, it would be roundly condemned by every single person on the left. But because it was a Christian service and Christians are perceived to be your sort of like right-wing enemies, therefore you're fine with them being attacked like that.
I don't know what attack like that means. I don't know how they were attacked. I condemn anybody that wastes time going to a church. I'm an atheist. I think it's a waste of fucking time. So that's my position.
Drew,
I don't know. Maybe I've seen more footage or something, but just I'm not even trying to make any particular point with this, but just so we have a clear narrative of what happened. Like a group of people went into a church during service, they got in people's faces, they screamed at them, and then when the parishioners fled, including a group of children, right there, you can watch clips of a group of kids.
It's kind of interesting that he has a more clear idea of what happened at that church than Renee Good. Have you guys noticed that? Like he has more. He can describe this down to the children fleeing, but he doesn't like watch the entire. What was it? The entire Renee Good thing? Wait, is that true? That he didn't watch the entire thing, or like they probably can't even. How like you would back up statements where people are saying that they're domestic terrorists, right? But you can recount detail line by line what happens upon a reaction to that one specific tragedy or incident. Okay, dude. All right. I know where your priorities lie. All right. It's like if someone was at the scene of a crime and then when that person is being asked about it, they're like, yeah, that little girl that was kidnapped, her booty was so round. Oh my gosh, she looked prepubescent. Okay, fresh out of the crib. Sexy. Okay, it's like, yeah, I know where your priorities lie. Okay, I know. We didn't ask for details on like that, but okay.
Walking out of a side door of the church because they were afraid. You can say they didn't have a reason to be, but they obviously were. Don Lemon is on camera saying, "Look, they're scared, but this is, the point of protest is to make people uncomfortable or whatever." So yes, they were.
Well, that's why I understand what you just said. Don Lemon pointed at kids leaving a church and said, "This is the point of these protests, to make those people scared." That sequence of events happens within 5 or 10 seconds.
You can go look it up. Go for it.
If you want to, you can give me the video of it, and you can give me the timestamp or whatever, and we can watch it. If that's what you want to do, we can. I'd absolutely do that.
How did they get into the church, by the way?
They just stormed the gates.
Oh, so they left the doors unlocked? Did they let him in? That kind of sounds like a guided tour.
Yeah, I mean, churches don't typically lock their doors. Like, come on, that's a really bad faith point. Even for you.
Sounds like a tour to me. I don't know.
This is retarded because if people had done this to a synagogue or a mosque, Destiny would immediately see that it's wrong. But because it's Christians, he thinks it's funny.
I just don't know what even happened yet. I'm hearing attack. I don't know if people were kicking the walls of the church. You said get in their face. So I don't know if somebody walked next to somebody. I don't know if you've been to church before, but you're typically pretty close together. So I'm just not sure what happened. It seems like none of you would have any fucking idea what happened either. So we're all just kind of on ground zero right here, I guess. Yeah. Base.
Okay. God. We have gone.
Do you see how retarded this is? Wait, like there's no factual conversation.
But to be clear,
with reality. What are we talking? I don't know what we're talking about. They haven't seen any of the videos for any of these issues that they feel so strongly about. That's fucking retarded to me. And they're talking about invoking the Insurrection Act, and these cocksuckers would literally follow Trump to the end of the year doing it without knowing any of the underlying facts involving what we're talking about invoking the Insurrection Act for. That's a deeply unserious
I
position.
feel like you could have made this point while engaging with their points as well.
No, why would I engage with retards for a conversation?
Leave the call then, Destiny. We didn't have a discussion.
Triggering the fuck out of you. It's too much fun for me.
We were able to have a reasonable discussion with Nicholas.
No, you haven't had any reasonable discussion. You can't engage with any of the facts. You can pretend to. You just utter the words.
I have to fight to get Destiny in the call in the first place. Okay? All right. Yes, I know it's getting doubled. Yes, double or nothing. All right. That's what the bot option said. Double or nothing. I did it on purpose. Okay?
Screaming like an ape.
Oh, sorry. I'll stop screaming for you. I'll stop screaming just for you. Okay.
We've had an actual discussion with Nicholas Deco, and
oh, really? Tell me what the discussion was about. How much ground did you cover?
Much more ground than we've had with you.
I love you.
Okay, I want to give it to Nicholas. Nicholas, go ahead.
We found some points of agreement on on there being increasing returns, and we've isolated the real the cause of disagreement being over future voting behavior. Now, I think, to be honest, the correct response is for all of us to go back, go back to our computers for 2 weeks, write down a model, calibrate the model, and then spit out, a solution, or at least like what are the bounds on assimilation, or whatever that would be required for it to be net good and what would be required to be net bad. I actually wanted to back up about 20-30 minutes.
Bro, I can't with this, okay? Like, why are we getting the dick sucking, like, POV from top left? Why can't he just, like, get a proper microphone and a proper, like, fucking video? Like, why are we getting the dick suck POV? Dude, I don't... Dude, I can't do this. Like, I swear to God, Wick brought in this guy just to handicap Destiny, okay? Destiny, this is your debate partner. Meet dick suck point of view, okay? Hopefully he is able to support you in this debate. Oh my God, dude.
And just quickly note that I think a policy being like a net good is sufficient to argue for it being enacted, and it being not the optimal policy is only a very weak argument against it.
Why is dick suck POV
because
here?
a lot of times whatever the optimal policy is not like within the space of what is possible. So
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that point in like full abstraction, I agree with. And like, I also agree that I'll just speak for myself. The main issue for me is, voting is control of policy, essentially. Like if we lived in some society that somehow in a way that was impossible to interfere with or ever change was enforcing like, a basically like extremely libertarian framework on the country, then all of my objections to immigration would be much less.
I wouldn't very much want an extreme libertarian because I think because I believe in there are increasing returns, I think that there's substantial underinvestment in research and development being the big one, and I also think there are very obviously incomplete insurance markets, and that there is in fact a lot of welfare spending that raises welfare.
I thought it was three things.
To bring it back a little bit.
It's a conversation we can have.
Yeah, to bring it back a little bit though, I do want to talk about one of the recent allegations that have been made against ICE. And hopefully you guys have heard of this one. There has been a whistleblower who has claimed that ICE was secretly training, again, against DHS policy, that their ICE agents did not need a judicial warrant in order to go into homes and to break into homes and things like that.
Yeah, I've heard of this one.
Well, I guess I'll just start here. Have you heard of that? Those allegations, Hunter and Drew? Have you looked into that at all?
Yeah, vaguely. And like, I don't know how secret it is, and that like I'm pretty sure that Vance has posted about the use of administrative versus judicial warrants. Yeah.
Do you think that administrative warrants are sufficient to satisfy the demands of the Fourth Amendment?
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but at some point, like, it's the strategy here is obviously to bog things down in so much procedure that deportations can't happen at scale. So in this context, I support them. Now, if we hadn't had the Biden wave, right, if the scale of the work to be done wasn't so huge, then I'd be more interested in having a conversation about exactly how much process is relevant or useful in any given context. But yeah, I'm fine with them using administrative warrants.
Sure. So just to be clear, even if it does violate the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, because the context we are in, you are fine with violating that amendment because Biden letting in all those illegals. You're fine with that. You're okay with it?
I don't know that it violates the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution.
Yes, it does.
Just assume it does for.
I think that's a reasonable position. I think that for generally most of the laws we have in the United States, I think that we should try to follow them as best we can. But in times of like emergency or crisis, I think that's the most important time to abandon as many of our civil rights as possible, especially if it's a president that I agree with. So I would generally agree with the position that he just laid forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want me to assume that it's something that I don't think it is, then yeah, I mean, I think that would be bad. But
that would be bad. Okay. What about you, Drew? What do you think?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Could you repeat the question?
Okay.
You're never listening.
I'll be honest. I got a bit distracted.
No, you're fine. Again, so have you heard?
You're distracted because you're malding, okay? You're distracted because you have a tracking error. You are retarded. Retarded people have a hard time processing what's going on, okay? Because they're retarded. That's why, okay? Hopefully that helps, Drew.
Heard about the allegations made by a whistleblower saying that there was a secret kind of memo going around that ICE agents could break into homes or go into homes without a judicial warrant. Are you familiar?
With an administrative warrant.
Is he asking ChatGPT?
Yeah. Okay. Look, firstly, I actually wasn't aware of the whistleblower regarding that. Secondly, I would just say I don't actually agree with that though. If it's true, I think they need to respect. They need to respect the Bill of Rights.
Okay. Do you think if they're doing that, let's just assume it's true. Let's just assume it's correct, and that they are violating the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. Do you think that people should maybe protest that?
Sure. Maybe there are legal avenues of protesting. They shouldn't physically harass and attack ICE agents. Which is what we are
calling
seeing
around and recording people is legal. This is well established.
Sure. Well, if they're not disrupting, then I've got no problems with people exercising their First Amendment rights in a way that's not disrupting federal immigration agents.
You see how this is a bit hollow in the way that they're interpreting it.
Look, if people are peacefully protesting without attacking agents, then I've got no problem with people peacefully protesting. But but the majority of Americans did vote overall.
Following agent ground is also.
I didn't necessarily say that. Again, Nicholas, I don't think that.
No, the
Nicholas,
warnings cross into interference. Absolutely, they do.
That warning is interference. And the second thing is, I also didn't say that Will Stansel should be arrested for blowing the rape whistle thing. Like, he can blow the rape whistle as much as he likes. It's fine. I'm not saying that he should be arrested for that. He's exercising his First Amendment rights. I do think that going around warning people is obviously interfering with the prerogative of immigration enforcement agents.
I am a bit concerned that Will Stansel blowing the rape whistle will be a bit of a crying wolf, because that's our main indicator for whenever Grok enters a singularity.
We got a Will Stansel.
What?
We love Will. He's a funny guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Let's go to the. So you think that warning people that ICE or the police or whatever is in the area is enough to count as interference or unlawful obstruction?
Yeah, the purpose of that is obviously to help people who they're seeking like evade capture. So yeah, that's interference with law enforcement.
So when there's on my app, my phone app, my driving app, and there's a alert that there's a speed trap up ahead, is that illegal obstruction?
Yeah, I've actually always thought that was ridiculous. Every time I see that, I wonder how that could possibly be legal. It's obviously intended to help people circumvent laws. So yeah, I'm against that too.
I think the people that monitor that should be executed.
Okay.
Based.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a well-established law that you can tell people where the police are.
Yeah, but did you consider that right now we're in a time of great crisis?
Mm-hmm. I also this is kind of point scoring. I don't care, but if we believe that we're in a state of exceptional, under the Biden administration, exceptionally large number of people entered, and it was 30 million, right? And then it turns out this is totally untrue and it's way lower. Then our assessment of what to do should also change, as the facts change.
Sure. So I mean, are the estimates that you think are most accurate also unprecedented in recent decades in terms of border crossings?
It's a 3 million net increase, as far as at least from Pew.
Right, and how does that compare to previous years?
So that puts us as about less as a portion of the population compared to 2005, back of the enveloping it, and 1 million more in absolute numbers compared to 2005.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that seems like kind of a big deal to me. And to be fair, I probably also disagree with the number of people we were bringing in 2005. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my concern here is that almost anyone can justify changing the rules or ignoring the rules because it's an emergency. And I've been hearing for the last 10 years from both sides at various degrees, it's an emergency. It's an emergency. I remember in 2020, right, when we did the lockdowns and things like that, we were like, okay, well, we should have these vaccine mandates because it's an emergency. And all the right wing stood up and says, wearing a mask is against the rights. We need to just fight federal power who are overstepping their bounds and coming into our places of worship, shutting down our churches, all these things. We need to resist all of this. These federal agents are overstepping their bounds. I don't see it but now we have an emergency you guys think is actually an emergency, and suddenly you're like, well, actually, no, the feds are based and you should comply or get shot. And I'm just struggling with the kind of seeing you guys for 5 years ago and hearing your takes today and how they've just basically switched places. I guess. I mean,
why you guys is a little.
Why is that?
You guys is a little strong. I don't think I've had much of a
position
at all on the lockdowns.
Yeah, that was
I feel like I'm not going to answer for a vague amalgam of all right wing people or what they think on average or something. But yeah,
very cool, very based.
Not fair.
What did you say, Nicholas? I didn't hear.
I said that you had not by that time settled on your adult political opinion, so it's a bit unfair to be here.
Well, both. I think the funny thing is that both Hunter and I 5 years ago were leftists.
And then the left moved so far left. I saw that. It was a really good picture that Elon Musk posted so much.
That's true. It's true. Well, it's actually true. It actually.
I agree. It is. I agree. It's true. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, it's crazy.
Destiny sent to left, but he was advocating that Charlie Kirk be shot. So
I remember advocating. I think I said those exact words. I think I did advocate for that. Yeah, CCP is actually tried to rescue 30 times. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Well, it is actually. Were you
again? You don't even have a point.
At some point, were you at some point a math major / engineering socialist at some point in the past?
Yeah. That was basically my position. Was I was kind of a technocratic progressive, social democrat type. Yeah.
Well, I guess to the question then, what changed your mind? What made you leave the left? So to speak?
I don't give a fuck.
Even so-called moderate leftists like Destiny, who were supposed to be against Hassan Piker and all the communists and stuff like that, actually were joking about Charlie Kirk being assassinated, and they've embraced a whole range of extremely radical positions, like essentially
granting all the kids, banning men for everything. Mandatory estrogen treatments for all the
very funny.
Yeah, hold on. I asked Hunter, so I do want to hear what Hunter has to say.
Yeah, so I actually don't think, based on the stated positions that I remember from just 5 years ago versus today, that the left has moved significantly far in that time. Now they've moved over decades for sure, but I'm perfectly happy to say that I'm the one that moved, and that was the primary cause of my own political reorientation. This is obviously just going to turn into this could be its own separate episode. It could be its own separate series of episodes. But you asked me what I changed my mind on.
Obviously, give me the elevator pitch version. Okay,
so
right?
there are sure. So there are a few different issues, but the basic one was that I became convinced of a moderately strong version of hereditarianism, and when you actually unfold the consequences of that, it sort of vitiates the justifications for a lot of left-wing policies, not just policies related to race, but general socialist policies. The idea that all people need is a hand up, that
Okay, good enough. Welcome back, Hitler.
The current distribution of wealth and income is totally arbitrary, and thus, like, it's a good idea for us to actively mitigate it and push back against the, sort of hierarchy that develops based on like a market system or something. So yeah.
Does it hurt the fact that this concept of race, doesn't it kind of suck that it seems like all of the white people that ascend to the top tend to be the lowest IQ individuals? So people like
I don't think he
Trump,
mentioned race.
people like Drew.
I actually don't think that. Oh, sorry. It's good that Destiny just proved I'm white. That's beautiful. But Hunter actually hadn't even talked about race. Destiny,
Hold on, when you say hereditarianism, what do you mean then, if not race?
Oh, I mean that, various personal characteristics that are relevant to, in particular, economic productivity and a broader
that you
suite
could put
of life
into
outcomes
racial groups, perhaps.
It doesn't. No, it's not. It relates to some of those questions indirectly, but the basic idea is just that people's talents are to a greater degree inborn than the result of environmental advantages, and that applies within race and also across races.
It's funny that Destiny called me white. He didn't actually. He didn't have the right script. The right script is that I'm supposed to be brown. But yes, sorry, you go on.
I don't think Drew is white. I think he's too Turkish for that.
That's funny, Nicholas. I think that's
even worse than being white, to be honest.
This is the real debate. Is Drew white?
Drew white? Hatred for Turkish people just grew tenfold today. Nice.
And you know how we're going to decide if Drew is white? Whoever gives me the largest super chat can decide, right? This is capitalism, baby. Okay, so whoever gives me the most money will decide how to white or not. But I guess, like to Drew, and I'm really curious because you tried to bring up this earlier, and I don't think we touched on it, but I'm really curious. You said that there's this, that the state of civil unrest in Minnesota currently is enough that you would argue that we should, that Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act. Why? Explain.
I mean, so it's a live question, but there's been the destruction of multiple federal vehicles. There's been break-ins of federal gun lockers, and literally federal guns have been stolen by some of these rioters. There were the sort of attacks on the churches. So I think there is certainly a state of civil unrest, and I know that Democrats had Democrats had a
one person. Has anyone fired shots at ICE in the city of Minneapolis?
I mean, you would be happy if it. Well, it's heading in that direction, and I think Nicholas would be fine with that.
Okay, so we should invoke the Insurrection Act, which is if there is, a state of insurrection, because if trends continue, there might be an insurrection in the future.
I mean, for example, Trump sent in the National Guard into DC, and I don't think there was any problem with it. A lot of Democrats said, "Oh, that was a sign of impending."
It was a big waste of money.
No, it was fine. I was in DC last week. It was actually good.
I have so many friends in DC who are like, all crime is gone now. It was actually amazing.
So there was, as far as I can tell, a decrease.
I felt safer. I'll tell you my own personal experience. I went to both DC and NYC, and I think I felt a lot safer in DC with the National Guard around. On the subway, there was actually there was a point on the subway where I was with my family member.
Okay,
and there was a crazy guy who was jumping around with a knife right in front of us 2 meters away.
Yeah. That boot must taste really, really good. Okay, delicious. That's some delicious boot right there. Yep. Oh yeah. I love the taste of boot.
And it was an extremely disturbing situation. It was scary. There's human feces on the subway.
So, wait, did the National Guard was there and you felt safe?
I have a blog.
No, I'm saying in DC. I'm saying in DC is a lot safer. The public environment is a lot safer because there's National Guard patrolling. In the subways in NYC, it's pretty scary. It gets dicey.
Oh, in NYC, right. Gotcha.
Okay, so
too many black people,
you know. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a blog post.
What's the fake?
I want to hear what Nicholas was talking. Let's hear what Nicholas has to say, and then you respond.
I have a blog post from back in September that was basically just doing the very, very most rudimentary differences on crime before and after. And when you consider that the National Guard are not employed full time and have to leave their jobs at considerable disruption, it does not shake out as cost effective. So
I mean, that's going to depend a lot on how you weight the costs of various crimes, but I mean, I'd be happy to look at that at least. And if you think there would be a more cost effective, because obviously the local officials in DC weren't going to do anything about crime, but if you think there was a more cost effective way to federally enforce the law there, then yeah, I'd be happy to look at that.
Okay, I do have
So my initial blog post, by the way, was only including the direct cost of paying the National Guard, their salary, and then after I'd be like, wait a second, there's considerable economic disruption from them leaving their job, and I can't know numbers for that, but it's probably rather large, and since it was borderline anyway, adding that in will probably
we have some
negative.
We have some super chats that have come in. I do got to make a little money today. Okay, I'm a capitalist. Okay, so I'm gonna we can. Some of them are questions. We are on YouTube, sir, but fair enough. Not Twitch, because.
By the way, By the way, I'm just gonna signal this. I've got to leave in about 30 minutes.
That's fine. We were going to end it.
Yeah, we all knew that you were gonna run at some point. Okay. All right, we knew.
Anyway, we'll get through these really quick.
Okay.
Moto Milk for $5 says, "What the fuck is this? We need arc raiders." Okay. £5 for Riz. What the fuck says, "Was good a domestic terrorist? And are any of these protests reasonably describable as either domestic terrorism or insurrectionary?" Cool. And that's to Hunter and to Drew.
I mean, seizing federal guns and break into federal cars and then seizing guns out of the gun locker. That is literally the definition of insurrectionary behavior. When you're literally stealing the armory of the state, that is literally borderline. That's definition insurrection. When you're literally stealing the weapons of the state.
Do you agree with that, Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, that incident in particular was really extreme. And then furthermore,
what did Nicholas just say? I didn't even hear.
He's made an exclamation out. He can't believe you guys just said that. But go ahead, Hunter.
When you're stealing the guns of, how, Nicholas? Like when you're stealing guns from federal agents, how is that not insurrectionary?
What the fuck do you think insurrection is?
Are we seriously going to declare the Insurrection Act anytime somebody steals a gun?
Don't you bring up January 6th?
Sorry, this is stupid.
January 6th.
Right.
There were organized groups
in Los Angeles, not somebody stole weapons out of a truck.
Not just somebody. It was an organized political group broke into a federal car and started stealing weapons. Like that is insurrection.
January 6th.
What was the organized group that broke into the car and?
January 6th.
I don't know if they've got a formal name, but they're anarchist type groups. These you can laugh all you want, but these anarchist type groups, they're obviously decentralized.
You're fucking retarded.
Destiny.
It's funny to me.
I mean, what do you think they're going to file as a 501c3? Like what?
Yeah. How the fuck are you fighting? Even what? If it's Trente Aragua 501c3 in the United States, MS-13 a 501c3, or Crips and Bloods registered at their local federal or state offices for tax purposes? What the fuck kind of retarded question is that? My God.
Destiny.
Serious. Drew, the Chinese are in your background. They're coming. I see them. The CCP. They're breaking through your walls, Drew. Oh no.
Okay. That was a $5 question. Save $5 question. You're giving a $50 answer.
Hang on. I'm responding. Destiny. These are anarchist groups. They're decentralized networks. Of course, they're not going to be as organized as the Bloods and the Crips.
Okay. $5 from Bad Company. To the MAGA dick sucks on the panel. Any evidence of these networks of kamikaze drivers?
I mean, I listed earlier in the show like a description from Reuters about organized groups of people whose job is to disrupt ICE. But I think it's
their job is to go and take pictures and video record ICE when they're conducting operations. There's a very obvious in the United States. Right? That is the First Amendment. That is the First Amendment. That's the First Amendment right in the United States, right?
There's a very obvious strategy.
They don't care about your rights. They don't care about your rights. They don't care about their rights.
The idea is that the politicians at the top retain plausible deniability while facilitating this behavior whenever possible. And
like when Donald Trump gave that speech at the Ellipse and all of his followers marched down to the Capitol to try to disrupt the government process there. Wouldn't that be an insurrection? How's that whataboutism? I'm describing definitionally. That's not whataboutism.
It literally is. You're talking about a different thing.
Exactly.
You think whataboutism is when you talk about a different thing? Whataboutism.
Guys, look at this autism, okay? Look at this factorial. This is autism, okay? This is autism, okay? Do not play this game. You'll get sucked into doing anime factorial, okay? This is anime factorial, okay? Stop. Do not play this game. It will destroy you. It will destroy your soul. My brain is blown. What? For this? You'll get sucked, say less. Shush. Steve. Jesse? Jesse? We gotta cook. Okay? Jesse? We gotta cook. Okay, Jesse? Alright? We gotta cook. Okay? I love making crystal meth for my anime girls.
Avoid talking about the
I'm not trying to avoid any evidence of what you're talking about. So there's no way
I just gave you the evidence earlier.
The evidence is that they conduct themselves in such a way that it's never possible to point to any behavior to show that they're actually engaged in supporting these groups. So it's literally unfalsifiable, definitionally. How can they possibly prove your point wrong?
These are decentralized anarchist groups. These decentralized anarchist groups.
This is not a serious topic.
Destiny, do you know what anarchism is? Do you know what anarchism is?
The soundboard.
Are you aware? Destiny, are you aware that anarchism?
Destiny, enough with the soundboard, please. Okay. $20.
Are you aware that anarchist ideology exists and that they have these decentralized groups?
Every time you talk to me, I decide here it's just the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. Everything
you have no
worse.
You have no argument. You
didn't answer my question. Listen to what you're talking about. You're saying there are decentralized anarchist groups that are being supported with plausible deniability at the top from Democrats, so there's never going to be a direct link. I can never point to any group that I'm actually looking at. You sound like a fucking schizo. If I were to put you in front of a psychiatrist, they would lock you up for 72 hours because you would be a threat to yourself and society. You sound schizophrenic. You're having delusionary hallucinations.
Oh, okay, give us the super obvious. Hunter, just real quick, Hunter, give us the super obvious.
Why does Destiny keep crashing out like this?
Hold on. Hunter is trying to actually answer the question. Hunter, answer the question.
He's the one that's crashing out.
Yeah, so
no, you are.
Here would be something.
Destiny's streaming. We can't even talk.
Okay, Drew, Destiny, here, let Hunter go right now, please.
Here would be something that would be a narrative violation for me and that would cause me to rethink my perspective, right? If leading Democrats in the state, if Tim Walz, if Jacob Frey came out and said, well, you have the right to protest, you absolutely do not have the right to interfere with federal law enforcement, and anyone who does so will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. If they issued any statement actually trying to get people to stop doing these things, then
excuse
that
me,
would cause
hold
me
on,
to
that's
question
fine. Didn't Tim Walz literally explicitly tell everybody that they needed to not be violent, and all of you fucking retards blew him up for it on X? So if I can find you the statement, you will admit right now that you would survive on a diet of Trump's cum given the opportunity to. Because Walz has absolutely fucking said that. How have you never heard this before? You're insane.
This is embarrassing.
I agree, it is embarrassing. I agree. I do agree.
No, I mean, he's not.
Destiny, if you want to send me that clip,
I said not to interfere with federal law enforcement.
It's not interference to follow people around.
That's not interference to take pictures of people.
We fundamentally disagree with the idea that warning
the
subject of a criminal or federal immigration enforcement operation, that enforcement officers are coming to get them. I consider that interference.
That's fine of you, but your personal perspective is not relevant here. That's not illegal to do.
I disagree. I think that is interference with a federal law enforcement operation.
Your thoughts are the law. You disagree?
No, look. If the cops
this is a simple question. Is it illegal to give people a warning that ICE are coming? That's illegal. That's an illegal.
If the cops were coming to arrest a murderer, and then you said, "Hey, the cops are coming, get out," you would absolutely be prosecuted for that. Yes. If you
I'm not asking about the cops coming for a murderer. I'm saying, is it illegal to give somebody a heads up that ICE is coming? That's an illegal thing.
if the intention of it is to enable a subject of a warrant to escape ICE custody, then yeah.
You know what
Has
else?
anybody ever been arrested for the charge of the crime?
What?
Has anyone
Has
been
anybody
arrested for
arrested
this? If this is illegal, who's been arrested and convicted of doing this? Is his question.
I don't know off the top of my head. Like,
His claim is that no one has, I believe.
okay, that seems unlikely.
Wouldn't it be great to actually know the answer to that?
Anyway, wait, what's the next question?
Yeah, okay, yeah, we got a lot of money on the table. $20 from Pondering Politics. Thank you, Josiah. Says, Glasses said, I'm assuming that's you, Hunter, in his intro, that if you don't like something, vote, but you lost the election. Does that apply to MAGA? Next time a Dem wins, will they commit to shutting the fuck up and letting Dems do whatever they want because MAGA lost?
I can tell you what I won't be
That's
doing.
kind of a stupid question because
I won't be
MAGA never
fighting
loses,
cops.
except when Democrats
Right?
win
I
it.
won't be trying to interfere with federal law enforcement operations.
Like they did when they lost the last election?
I'm not like a
Yeah.
January. I'm not pro January.
Why do you
6th.
keep doing this, like, the lowest IQ possible thing? When I point out an example, you go, well, I didn't do it. You understand that's like typical behavior of like a mentally retarded individual, right? Do you
No, I'm saying that I'm only responsible for
Do you
positions I
acknowledge-
actually hold.
I understand.
I do not, I'm not a
acknowledge that what you're
January 6th
doing
supporter.
is
I don't
typical
hold
of somebody
that
who has
position.
developmental disabilities, like severe cognitive impairment. I'm just curious if you can acknowledge that.
Non-point.
Okay, do you acknowledge that Republicans did do the thing, where when they lost the election, they tried to have a massive riot at the White House to change the results? Or at the Capitol.
Yeah, that happened.
Okay.
Do you think when Josiah made that donation, do you think Josiah was asking about your personal opinion on what you personally would be doing? Or do you think he was speaking to the broader context of Republicans having a fucking right and to this day not accepting the outcome of the 2020 election? What do you think he was more likely talking about there?
I mean, I can't answer for anybody that's not me. And the fact that like Republicans
why are
have
you
also
here?
behaved
Why are you
badly
here?
in the past.
Is Josiah last hold on talking to Tiny? I have no idea. I actually think so. Because you can count Pisco, right? You can count Pisco in with talking to Tiny, right? Like even though it's antagonistic, even if it's antagonistic, like that counts, right?
Hold on, wait, was this debate about what is your personal...
Just so you know, if you truly, truly, truly never, ever, ever want to associate with somebody anymore, you wouldn't even accept a debate with them, okay? Like, if President Sunday challenges Steven to a debate, I do not think that Steven would accept. Because why should he give that clout away, right? The same thing with Pisco. If Pisco didn't actually want to associate with Steven in any way whatsoever, then, you know, or want to help him in any way, principally speaking, I have no idea, okay? Because even if you debate an antagonist, somebody who is your enemy, that is still a collaboration.
What are you personally going to do? Why are you talking about Trump or anybody in the administration? You're not the president of the United States. You're not the head of the Department of Homeland Security, the head of the FBI. Why are you here giving your opinion on anything at all?
Yeah,
It's just low IQ behavior. Why is everybody who believes in this hereditary biological... Or maybe you do believe in it. You think you just got dealt a bad hand, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
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 I think with regard to the
This is
January
actually
6th
Destiny,
Hold on, let Nicholas
You're
answer.
literally
Let
retarded.
Nicholas answer, and then we'll give it to you, Drew. I promise.
I
Nicholas.
think with regard to the January 6th conspirators, we should have remembered the lessons of May 15th, and that is all that I'll say.
Okay, Drew, you had something to say. Go ahead.
I just think it's funny that Drew and Hunter presented to this debate, but Destiny wants to argue like he's literally debating Trump himself. We are moderate conservatives. We are not necessarily Gen 6. We're not arguing. That's true, though.
That's just like every time you talk about...
Hold on, just real quick. But just
You're literally wiping your mouth
hold on,
clean
Destiny,
every time
please.
you open your mouth to talk about the
Destiny,
Trump
please.
administration. Sorry.
Okay, just real quick.
It's retarded.
Drew, though, you understand you are here to represent a position, correct?
Yeah, and
And represent a side.
Our position is a
personally
sort of
would
my personal position is a moderate conservative or a moderate Trump position. It's not necessarily agreeing with everything that Trump has ever said or done.
I
Right, but
understand.
you're trying to have the I'm not entirely sure. Being not an American, you might lack some of the context of the Insurrection Act. It literally hasn't been invoked since the actual Rodney King riots, right?
As
This is
Nicholas said at the start of his debate, he didn't necessarily come here to talk about the Insurrection Act. I just came here mainly to talk about immigration.
No.
Look, I
The
sent you a
reason
video.
I find the Insurrection Act like as a topic uninteresting is that it's like so easily answerable, right? That you look at it, you consider the facts for 15 seconds, and you go, no, the Insurrection Act should not be invoked.
Well, I don't think Nicholas
you're making a fool of yourself.
Okay.
Nicholas is not okay. Nicholas is not necessarily a fair-minded observer here because he literally wrote an article about 6 months ago talking about killing Trump administration officials. So I don't know if Nicholas is going to be the most fair-minded observer when it comes to the question of insurrection
shit.
and civil unrest in Minnesota.
Wait, is Nick really that based? I didn't know that. Sorry, just kidding. I don't know. I disavow.
Yeah.
That's
You
really
know, I
funny,
mean,
isn't
like
it?
this is
Destiny,
fundamentally-
eventually Destiny's going to get a big
I disavowed. Like Donald Trump said, he knows they'll be marching peacefully. I disavow that.
Okay.
I
do wanna-
There are people who have questions, and I presume they would want to
Yeah,
have them.
I understand, but Destiny wanted me to show this clip, and so we're going to show this clip. I'm assuming you gave me the right timestamp, correct? Let's watch
hope so.
and find out. So if you want to click on watch screen,
8 days
we can
ago,
watch
right?
together. Everyone's good? Everyone on there? Hope so.
How do I make this
Hold on.
jump?
Why is this? Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, walls!
I had it muted.
We must
Like,
protest loudly, urgently,
No.
but also peacefully. Indeed, as hard as we will fight in the courts and at the ballot box, we cannot and will not let violence prevail. You're angry? I'm angry. Angry is not a strong enough word. but we must remain peaceful. Second,
So
Okay.
does that count?
No, you can go back to what I said.
You're a
Everyone can watch
cum
this once it's
sock. A
released.
cum
I said
sock
don't
for Donald Trump.
interfere
A
with
cum
federal
sock.
law enforcement.
You would import Chinese injections to increase the amount of Trump's loads just so that he can ejaculate that much more.
I would even argue that Tim Wallace's statement there is too soft. Like, I would even argue that that is not enough for me because I don't know. Like, he shouldn't tell his own people to not be violent if their own fucking politicians wouldn't even do that. Like, if Republican politicians aren't willing to tell Republicans to calm the fuck down, I don't see any reason for Tim Walz to do it, personally. I just don't think Tim Walz should even do it. I just don't think so. I think it's a bad idea. Because you're enforcing the double standards poisoning in this country that I've talked so much about.
Or your asshole every time you talk about it. It is pathetic. You are pathetic.
Okay. 8-month
I'm
membership.
happy to let everybody just judge the way everyone's conducted themselves here.
Brew Crow for 8-month membership tier 2. Thank you for the 8-month tier 2 membership. Says Destiny just won the debate with a soundboard. $5 from Alishness. Maryland is proposing something called.
I'll let everyone judge. Reads out his super chat. The congratulating Destiny. Good memes. Okay.
Icebreaker Act, which could bar ICE agents from local law enforcement jobs in Maryland.
Fuck
Maryland.
me, dude.
$5.
Good. No, we should agree to like economically boycott them forever, so that like you continue to be excluded afterwards. Like no local government no jobs, no police jobs, no nothing anywhere in the country. That's truly the hope. And let people know about that in advance when they consider joining ICE.
$10 from OG Gamers Hustle or something. The only actual paid agitators are right-wing media figures and influencers. They make millions of dollars.
That's not a question.
Well, they paid me money. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, fair enough.
it's okay. $10. You gotta respect the $10. So it's literally
Well, the
destroying the country by
dick-
outright farming and lying at every turn.
dick
I will
suck
get to the
POV
questions.
guy.
$2
All
for
he's
Rocket.
saying-
All he's saying there is that it's completely illegitimate to hold right-wing perspectives. So he's just basically saying that it's illegitimate to have a politically different point of view to the left.
What terrorist from Odashara? What terrorist group was Renee good in? That's a question.
They already said it earlier. That horrible group that like Ice Watch, I think, they take
National
videos of
Lawyers
ICE.
Guild.
National Lawyers Guild? Holy shit. That's
to be fair,
crazy. I remember reading a report, I think it was 5 years ago. It was like ISIS, I think National Lawyers Guild, and I think it was Al Qaeda in Iraq were like the top 3 terrorist groups that were threats to U.S. freedoms, I think. Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. I'm glad they got her. Thank God.
£10 from Riz. What the fuck? Says, if the church process is somehow an attack, do the many historic examples we have of protests disrupting town halls, state legislators, school board sessions, etc., also count as attacks?
A church is not a fucking town hall. That's a pretty retarded statement. A church is a place of worship. And if they want to start saying that place of worship are fair game for attacks, then that's a very horrible road that they want to go down.
I was just given a deadline for moving, okay? Before April and before May, apparently. That's actually more than enough time, to be honest. I thought I had to do it within like maybe January or February or something like that. But yeah,
Very horrible road that they want to go
Yeah,
down.
I mean, I would say that for one thing, there is a difference. Like, if you're bringing your grievances to an actual like seat of policymaking, right? That's a much more direct and intended and appropriate use of protest than bringing it to some random church that has people in it that you disagree with. But I would also
why
say
are they
that like
protesting? Why are they protesting
if you disrupt meetings,
Why would they protest instead of random
bodies,
church?
that
Why
also
would they
shouldn't be allowed.
protest?
I told you guys, right? I already told you guys I'm getting evicted, soft evicted. I thought this wasn't news. I told you guys about this.
Why were they protesting that church? Is it a random church? Why were they protesting that church? Wasn't it just one in particular?
The pastor has he's alleged to be an ICE agent of some kind.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just a random church, right? You just lied when you said that, right? That was a
Yeah,
fucking
it's
lie,
not just
right?
a random church.
Even if the
I
pastor
don't think anything
Okay,
important
okay,
comes
it's
from that,
okay.
like-
Daddy Trump lies all the time. You lie too. I just want to be clear.
Okay, it was a specific church. Yeah, it was a specific
That
church.
was-
It doesn't make it any
It's kind of
better.
the
Like,
opposite of the word random, right? Specific is like the exact opposite of the word random. So you would think
yeah,
that.
that was
Maybe
clearly
it's
like
like,
the
you know?
thrust of my
Would it
I've
be
been saying
justified?
it for a while,
That's a
long
good question.
time
Would it be
now.
justified if the pastor was allegedly actually an ICE agent?
Yes.
So I think protesting is fine. I think if they asked them to leave and then they
Protesting in the
didn't
middle of the
leave,
sermon.
if they asked them to leave and then they didn't leave, then I think that they could arrest them. Sure, or the cops could come and arrest them. I didn't see that. I watched about an hour, I think, a video of this. I didn't see anybody ask anybody to leave or tell anybody to leave. Maybe they did. I just missed
I
it.
thought you
Or
said you
maybe
hadn't heard of it. I thought you said you hadn't heard of it.
I was lying. I was emulating you cocksuckers whenever I asked you about any of the horribly corrupt shit that Trump does, and you seem to have never heard of a single fucking thing of it. That's what I was
The church
making fun of
maintained
you.
that when Al Qaeda attacked America and disrupted worship services by holding placards and protesting.
Okay, $5
True.
from Mike Knowers. Nick and Destiny, have you ever had a discussion together? I think you would have. I think you have some mutuals like Ayala and others, and it would be interesting. Well, you guys can get together.
Oh,
at
this
some
is
point if you
this is our first time.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Vanilla.
I hope it was gentle for both of you.
I'm
$5
sorry,
from
I
General
got
Grievous.
bad behavior today, okay?
$5 from General Grievous. Drew, ICE has been raiding churches during religious services to profile immigrants. Where's your righteous anger over disruption of religious liberty?
Really? I believe it.
If that's true, I condemn it.
So just to let everyone know, in the 1st of January, maybe not first, 21st of January last year, 2025, Trump.
Yeah, but like, what do anyone like? What do any one of like Drew's fucking condemnations even mean? Like they don't even mean anything. If they're doing that, I condemn it. Yeah, nobody cares. Like, you're pretending as if your opinion matters as much as Malcolm X's. Bro, you're like a fucking... You're the representative of all fucking lame breeds, okay? Alright, you're a cancer-ridden filth, a worm, okay?
Rescinded a policy from the Biden administration that was in place, putting schools, hospitals, and churches off limits for ICE agents to go into. So last year, Trump did rescind that policy. So it.
Well, like, do you really think that there should be like this kind of like this
safe
kind of,
zone for criminals? Are you serious? They're going to run down churches and schools now and hide. They're going to be places of criminality now.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying, do you really think it's a good policy to have this kind of standing sort of like off limit zone where apparently the immigration law in the United States no longer applies?
Well, it would probably be good if people didn't disrupt churches, right?
I don't think that churches should be disrupted, but I also think that.
So,
nah, I think churches should be disrupted. Fuck that. It's First Amendment versus First Amendment. Take your pick.
You can't just have a carve out where automatically some parts of the United States just no longer have immigration law in effect.
What about a carve out where some parts of the United States are banned from protesting? That is okay? Or is it just when it agrees with your politically partisan hack position?
I don't remember I ever said that.
Okay.
No, I mean, a second ago, you, Destiny, said that if they were asked to leave and they didn't leave, that they should be arrested. So, you know.
Yeah, you don't even know they were asked to leave. You literally don't know a single detail about any of the fucking things we've spoken about today. So you can't even have a position on it. The position you can have is twerking up and down on Donald Trump's dick. But besides that, yeah.
They were asked to leave. Okay.
5
were
pounds. Well, yeah. If you have a hold on again, if you have a clip of them being asked to leave, I will play.
Yeah, the ICE pastor needs a safe space where he can not feel guilty when he's splitting up families, because as long as he sucks the God's dick, as long as he sucks his dick, the H has a capital H, okay? As long as he sucks his dick, he can feel absolved and he can go to heaven, okay? I'm sure.
Play it just like we did the wall split. So show us.
I mean, the people like fled the church because they couldn't get away from these people. Like, yeah.
Maybe they just left because they were annoyed.
Maybe they should flee. Or maybe they should flee. Because that's only 1% of the misery that immigrants who are escaping and seeking asylum have to go through. Maybe they should flee. Maybe they should go. Maybe we don't want these stinky, disgusting, putrid, diabetes-ridden white supremacists in our fucking country, okay? This is the fucking United States of America, okay? It's not the United Calvinists of America, okay? Get it right.
Okay.
Okay, 5 pounds from Riz to say, if the Insurrection Act should be invoked in Minnesota, should it have also been invoked during the actual insurrection on January 6th?
Yeah, that's fine. Again, like I've said, I'm perfectly happy with the idea that like that was illegal and those people should have been stopped from doing what they were doing. Yeah.
Do you think those people should have been shot? Do you think should those people have been shot when they were attacking cops trying to break into the building?
I mean, at least one of them was shot, so. Yeah.
Unfortunately, just one. Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think that they could have shot like a whole bunch of them when they were all trying to break through the lines?
Yeah, I mean, if it were necessary, then sure.
Well, I mean, you keep saying if. So this is an event that actually happened. It's a real event in world history. So do you think those cops had a justification to start shooting when the people were trying to break down the doors or break through?
I mean, I think the Capitol should have been secured. Yeah, I don't think.
Do you think that they had? Do you think that the officers had the right to shoot the people that were trying to break down the doors that were attacking the front?
Well, they did. They literally did.
Do you think the officers had a right to shoot the people? Because they shot the people that had been justified.
They did it. They did it.
Edegon Jr., can you call?
No, nobody cares about whether or not they did it. It's whether they should. You stupid dumb fuck. You absolute inbred. You actually, like, fucking cowardly little fuck. Okay? Nobody gives a fuck about you or anybody else. Okay? Nobody gives a fuck. Alright? People do give a fuck about your opinions, though. Okay? I give a fuck about your cowardly little opinions. Okay? You're pathetic, stupid, actual fucking dumb fuck ass. Okay?
Calm down for a second. The CCP's breaking down your background. Be careful. I see one of the books just fell. Do you think that the Capitol Police had a right to shoot the lines of protesters who were trying to break into the building?
Yes.
You would have supported it. Okay. All right,
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to prioritize the ones that are to Drew because he only has a few more minutes here. $10 from Luke Locomotive. Drew, you called the Minnesota church story the most notable instance of civil unrest. If they had yelled from the sidewalk, it'd be nothing. That's enough for you to let the Fed take up arms against its people? That's a question.
It's not against the people of Minnesota at large. It's against literal saboteurs and communist activists who are basically directing violence against immigration authorities. So I just reject the entire premise of the question.
Okay. $10.
So it's a little weird to say like if they'd done something else, it would have been fine. So therefore, it was fine. Like that was a weird way to frame
Well,
that.
no, the question was just to be clear, the question was, do you think that the Minnesota church incident was enough to justify the Insurrection Act on its own? basically, is the question.
I didn't say that, and I think there's multiple incidents that point to it. For example, breaking into federal cars and stealing guns from federal agents, etc.
Okay, $10 from the soy pill. Thank you for the $10 to say Drew won't mention they were protesting the official who worked with ICE, not religion. These are deeply unserious people, and Wick should be ashamed for humoring them.
No,
here's
that's retarded. That's retarded.
I feel no shame.
The kids in the church had done nothing, and they were still terrorized. So this is just they're making this retarded argument. Yeah.
Man, fuck the kids. Also, not only that, when was the last time Republicans ever gave a flying fuck about the kids? Excuse me? They don't give a fuck about the kids. They want to fuck kids. Okay? Let's just get it right.
They were terrorized.
Damn.
Also, I don't think either of us claimed that it was
scared.
like an anti that it was like the point of the protest was like against Christianity or something. I don't think we made that claim. Yeah, I mean, it was an ICE related protest because the pastor is alleged to be an ICE agent.
Still terrorizing innocent people.
Check that guy's hard drive. Okay? ICE agent and a pastor. Ooh, that's a double whammy. Okay? Check the hard drive. We might have a Lakari situation on our hands, okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don Lemon made it very clear that they looked scared. The kids looked scared. They terrorized.
I used the word traumatic.
Hold on, Nicholas is trying to ask me something. I can't hear what he's saying. Go ahead.
How many questions are there? I want the people to get their money's worth. You know,
there's a lot of questions.
Issue refunds. Okay.
I'm not going to. No refunds. Again.
What if we all agreed to speak twice as fast? And twice as concisely too.
Look, my rule on this, and this is a policy, I guess. It's not really a rule. If they get $5, give them a $5 answer. If they get $50, give them a $50 answer. Okay, that's all I'm saying. $5 from General Grievous to say, should individuals not have worn slaves to help evade capture if people were coming to enforce the fugitive slave act?
Illegal immigrants are slaves. Illegal immigrants are slaves. Retarded.
Comparable.
No, it's not comparable at all.
Yes.
You only think it's comparable because you think that America shouldn't have a border.
Okay, so
I got another video clip for you. This is apparently the mayor of Minneapolis after. Go ahead.
Okay.
And Nicholas is smirking because he does agree. He doesn't think that America should have a border.
I have said from the get-go.
Like I said, in my ideal world, we lose track of ICE in Manchuria.
Damn.
Okay.
I think the border in the United States is not enforced enough right now because according to Drew, he was just here a while ago, so somebody's fucking up.
Okay, let's watch this real quick. Click on the watch screen, gang, and we'll...
That's beautiful friend enemy distinction politics because he's got a problem with me because I've got conservative political opinions, but he's fine with Somali illegal immigrants.
Drew, I'm actually do not mistake my beliefs. I'm actually a huge supporter of hereditarianism, and I just think that we need to be more careful about the IQ level of the genetic stock that we have in this country. And I don't think people like you should be allowed in.
You would never say that to a Somali.
You could rape a white woman, a white woman, and then give birth to a retarded Drew child. I don't want these people like country.
You know what's funny? You would never say that to an actual 60 IQ Somali illegal immigrant.
Okay.
Yeah, you got me there. I definitely never said any things about black people or Somali before.
Hey, Foodshops. I thought you weren't a Wick fan. Okay, if I watch Trump, does that mean I'm going to suck Trump's dick and I'm going to enjoy everything that Trump does? I'm a Trump fan now. I'm MAGA. If I watch Trump, yeah, that's what I thought. Moron.
Absolutely true.
Okay, let's watch this real quick so we get back to my money.
I have said from the get-go.
By the way, I did tell you I've got a hard stop.
Yep, we're going to give you an outro here in 3 minutes. How's that? But let's watch this real quick.
Sounds good.
I have said from the get-go to people in Minneapolis, do not take the bait. We are better than that. I have encouraged peaceful protest, and I am inspired by the tens of thousands of people who have, in fact, peacefully protested and fairly documented with transparency what is taking place. That is allowed in any city in the country. And I have made it clear that to the extent people are going beyond that, and those protests are not peaceful, and violence that the chief mentioned, it's got to stop, and you got to go home.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing I said before. He did not say, not only did he not say don't interfere with federal law enforcement, he tacitly endorsed them by saying all these thousands of people that I've seen like doing something that I approve of. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, so then just curious, just checking for consistency here. When Donald Trump tweeted out, you guys need to remain peaceful at the Capitol after they'd already broken in, that was Donald Trump encouraging and supporting the violence that was happening at the Capitol, right?
We both condemned January 6th.
I didn't ask that. That's not what I asked. Why do you generalize it? Drew, please, I understand that in your, accelerated learning classes or whatever they do for disability people down there, okay, this is just a normal conversation. I'm just asking people that are fluent in English and can understand
Jesse, you've literally never read a book in your life. Tell us what book you read. Tell us what book you read.
Let him ask your question, then you're going to get an answer, then you're going to get to give your outro, and they'll let you go.
What was that? I'm just curious, yeah. So you agree then that Donald Trump was encouraging what was happening at the Capitol, right?
Does Destiny know how to read? It would be a great question to know.
You can't even understand spoken word. Why would I assume you'd be able to read, Drew?
No, you can't read. You demonstrably cannot read. It's a well-known meme. It's a well-known meme where you actually just basically admit you've never been.
You're stumbling over your words. You're in shock. You're panicking. You're sweating. It's the end.
Drew, you get your outro now. I know you have to go. This has been a shit show. I won't lie. But
I didn't answer that question. It was a super simple question. Yeah. Was Donald Trump encouraging violence on the day of when there were already violent rioters inside the Capitol, and he tweeted out, "I want you guys to remain peaceful while you protest," or whatever?
I'm happy to answer that after Drew goes, by the way.
Yeah.
If he has to go.
Yeah, I know.
And as I've said, I've always condemned January 6th. But anyway, I'll just say I actually thought it was I thought it was interesting that we could actually have a discussion with Nicholas. The funny thing is that Nicholas is actually far more radical than Destiny because Nicholas is open that he wants to completely abolish the border, and he's even said before that members of the Trump administration should be killed. So Nicholas is actually more radical than Destiny.
There are circumstances under which they should be killed.
Okay, well, Nicholas. The funny thing is, Nicholas is. That's the funny thing. Nicholas is actually far more radical than.
You said the funny thing is.
Let him finish. He's got to go. Let him finish. He's got to go. Then he'll be free of him.
It is interesting. I just think it is interesting that despite the fact that Nicholas is more radical than Destiny, you can actually have a somewhat of a discussion with Nicholas, whereas Destiny was just throwing shit at the wall and just behaving like an ape and just screaming. He was constantly chimping out. He could not even have even any.
I am chimping out. I am chimping out. Yes, I am a mongoloid. I am racist. Where is the meme? Where's the meme?
He couldn't have any intellectual discussion whatsoever, and he started the entire show with a.
Whenever somebody says I'm chimping out, we have to do it. We have to do the meme, okay? Every single time somebody does that, we have to do the meme. Come on.
A big board behind him that said, "Drew Pavel, you should hang yourself." So that just showed from the very start that he was not a good.
If I say I'm in trouble, based.
I just think Destiny's a
if I really think you should hang yourself, wouldn't it
be
be good faith for me to say it? Wouldn't it be bad faith for me not to?
I think it is actually. I think it's actually a testament to the fact that Destiny is actually genuinely a very disgusting person, and his personal life is just literally filthy and perverted, and I think that is a reflection of his perverted mind.
Oh, the CCP is going to get you for
okay,
that
Drew,
one. I'm forwarding it to my contact right now.
I appreciate you coming on. I do.
Well, you're just talking like a mongoloid.
I don't give a fuck. I am a mongoloid. In my heart, I'm a mongoloid. That is what I am. We are a horde. That is what we are. Yes, we are that. We are 100% that.
That's not something to be proud of.
It is something to be proud of, because the Mongols are the ones who created civilization. And you created nothing but barbarism. You're the fucking barbarians. You destroyed the treasures of mankind. The Mongols only united it. What the fuck do you know about civilization? What the fuck do you know about pride? What the fuck do you have to be proud of except looting, genociding, and destroying the cultures and peoples and wealth of this world? What the fuck do you know, Cans Cuck?
Well, you're the one here chimping out, so...
I am chipping out, bitch, because I'm a fucking human being, and you're a little soy boy cuck, little bitch. You don't know who the fuck I am.
No, I see you. I think you're a mongoloid. That's what you...
I am a mongoloid, you're right. It is what I am, and I'm proud of being that.
Well, it's an anthropological term. It doesn't actually mean Mongol.
Okay, so what's your fucking point? You ugly, disgusting, fucking ugly, disgusting, fucking barbarian, smelly piece of shit. You want to talk racism? I can be way more racist than you, Angloid. What fucking civilizations did Angloids ever fucking have? It needed the Romans to fuck all of you in your ass to give you any civilization. You never had any of your own. You want to be racist? I could be way more racist. You want to talk shit about Asians? What the fuck do you have on Asia, huh?
I have nothing on it.
You have nothing, because you're a Can's cuck, bitch.
Good meme. Wait. Okay. Hold on. Trying to look for this. Dude, what is it? What am I trying to look for? Fuck me. I'm trying to find something. Sorry. I have to play this too, okay?
Zoos are lame in general, though, man. When's the last time I went to the zoo? I went to San Diego Zoo. That line was pissing on everybody. Dude. If chimps were everywhere and they had full freedom, the way people do, we'd have a fucking serious problem. It would be chaos. You wouldn't be able to leave your house. If there was as many chimps as there were people, you would never be able to get to your car. They would mug you every chance they got. They would rip your fucking feet off and fuck your ass. If you don't think chimps will steal babies and eat them, you haven't been paying attention to the literature. Crazy 800-pound silverback bursting through the tree. Samoan babies that can run fast. I mean, that's what's going to survive. Fucking Diesel, square-headed, destroying machine. Incredible. Fast twitch, muscle fiber, and angst. And finally in his life, he's become special after years of neglect. I got molested. Did you? Yes. The fuck.
After years of neglect.
We'll get you maybe on a
Destiny,
little smaller
Destiny,
channel
please
this
look
time.
after your son. Please, like, literally just call your son at some point.
Okay, let's keep kids out of this.
G
Drew,
Lang
thank
is
you for being
DMing me
here.
right now. They're coming after you. Be careful. You're
I
going to have to
genuinely-
do a fundraiser to scam people on Twitter. Good luck.
Okay, Destiny, I genuinely think you should talk to your own son because you're actually a 35-year-old man and your own son is basically being
Okay,
I'm
directed.
actually
Drew, don't you have to go?
That's even sadder. That's even sadder.
Please
You're
remember,
37
you
years
also
old.
wear a condom because holy fuck, one of you is worse enough. Okay.
Okay, Drew. Thank you.
Nicholas,
for being
you're actually. I mean, Nicholas, you can actually have a
I'm
discussion.
just kidding. I know you're a virgin anyway. I'm just joking.
Okay, Destiny, you're literally a filthy pervert, and I genuinely hope you talk to your own son at some point in the next. At some point in the next couple of weeks, you need to talk to your own son because your son is extremely
last
neglected.
time, because apparently he beat you in a debate, which is crazy because he's like 14.
Well,
but I guess that's about where you're at.
Well,
developmentally, so-
your son. Your son in that debate, your son actually endorsed like killing his own grandmother. or
Okay,
something
we are
crazy
not
like
going to
that.
bring
So
in
you
people's
need to-
children. Hold on. I do have a rule. Don't bring
you need to
people's
talk-
kids
you need
into
to
these
talk
things.
into
Okay,
it.
Drew, that's not okay.
Okay, I do think Destiny needs to talk to his own son, and I do think he needs to fix his perverted personal life.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
So
He's a massive.
I
cuck. It's
understand. I
actually
get
genuinely
it.
disgusting.
I get it. Okay, I'll
Okay,
talk to you
thank
later, Drew. Bye bye.
Please, like literally look after yourself, Destiny.
Okay.
Please, you actually need to get mental health.
I'll donate to your next fundraiser. Okay.
Okay. Have fun, Destiny. You're a disgusting. person.
All right. Wait. So what was the answer to that question? Was Donald Trump supporting the violence?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that calling for peace in and of itself is an endorsement for violence. I told you what kind of statement I would need to see from them to change that view of mine that they support this interference.
Okay, but didn't Donald Trump? He had the opportunity to tell people to like stop and go home and everything, and he didn't. So why isn't Donald Trump supporting
stand
violence?
down. He said stand down.
No, that wasn't until after that was killed. When there were people that had broken into the Capitol and people were begging Trump to tell him to go home, he just tweeted out, "Stay peaceful." So that's him If these messages that were stronger statements than Trump has ever made, by the way, in his entire life, you will acknowledge that these two statements that the mayor and the governor made, these are stronger statements to peacefully protest than what Donald Trump has ever made before, right?
No, I don't agree with that. They said like
What's
tens of
one-
thousands
wait,
of
wait,
people
one
were
time-
protesting.
what's one
Like,
time
no,
he's made
it's
a better
totally
statement?
legitimate.
Yeah, sure. Give me an example of one statement
He
Trump
always do this
made.
thing where it's like, pull up from your encyclopedia.
Oh,
and
have an
every
example.
concept is like-
He's always doing this thing where he wants an example of what I'm talking about. I just want to fucking live in memes. I know, dude. Eat shit.
Okay. $30, or I'm sorry, yeah, $30 for Drew or Hunter.
$30.
What's your biggest criticism of Trump? The strongest disagreement you can think of?
I think the tariff policy is really chaotic. I think that a lot of his, like, some of the more economically populist positions he's taken, like the cap on credit card interest rates, the no tax on tip stuff, like that's obviously just like rank populism that has no plausible justification. So yeah.
Okay. $20 from Natiristoa. For Drew in Destiny, why didn't the Democratic Party respond like Trump to the Bundy Farm incident?
So the Bundy Farm
I don't know
incident,
the
by the way,
question.
you know what this is? Okay, so Clyde.
I'm aware of the farm. I just don't know what the
Clyde
question was.
Bundy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they want to clarify, they can, but that's what they asked. Okay. $20 from Breadbox. Wick, please set the bar for Destiny in relation to his behavior here. Many of us have either continued to increase the value of our liberal views with his perspective. His excessive insincerity has cost us libs an easy win here. Thank you for the $20.
I agree with that.
Wow.
I think, by the way, as a general rule, anyone who wants to comment on politics should spend 3 to 4 hours a day reading economic papers and becoming conversant in the literature, because otherwise, you don't have anything to say, about what optimal policy should be. I think that.
Dude, clearly that's not fucking needed, okay? We live in this fucking streamer world right now, you fucking dipshit. You absolute fucking moron. Nobody needs to read 4 hours, 4 days worth of fucking economics paper, you fucking dipshit, okay? Shove your fucking bloated economic ass up your fucking anus, all right? You don't know what you're talking about. We live in a streamer's world, okay? We have a streamer president, okay? Everybody, they can have the most minimal amount of education and they're able to ascend to the top of politics, all right? You don't know what you're talking about, all right? Nobody gives a fuck.
The ideal way to figure out what we should do.
I don't know, Ryan Getty reads heaps and he's mad knowledgeable. Yes, and he somehow still has the wrong opinions, okay? Listen to me, okay? I love you, Ryan, okay? But listen to me, okay? We don't need to read economics, okay? We don't need to do that. All right, I'm sorry.
Is
Welcome.
Figure out the bare
Welcome
minimum
to hell.
principles of what we're trying to maximize, and then learn how you maximize those. And that requires a lot of, actually learning about the world. So
That's actually an interesting topic, the sort of meta issue there that I'd be happy to talk to you about. Like to what extent that sort of approach like will or will not, produce useful outcomes. But we can talk about that another time maybe.
Okay. Let's get. I'm looking for the questions here. The Bongo Beat for $10 says to the morons, I don't care to learn the names of. When you cherry pick your words,
that could be any of us.
I know it could be any of us. Abuse the English language to distort every single thing. Why do you expect any level of respect? And I guess that's to all of us. So.
I don't know that I expect anything.
Okay. $10 Canadian, unfortunately, from Sithari. For glasses, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit held that a man holding a sign up on a public road saying cops ahead is free speech in 2023. So it's not interference to blow whistles.
He's so cool.
Okay, I disagree with that ruling.
Okay.
Okay.
$10. Oh, go ahead.
Unless there have been further rulings since then.
Highly doubtful. But I'm not a lawyer. Sorry. I generally kind of went under on this, and that I generally don't. I try and stay away from what is the state of the law. I want to think about what should the law be. Because that's the
actually, I think it's better to like talk about what the law is, except for when the law disagrees with you. Then I talk about what the law should be, unless that's too difficult to think up. So then I just say what I personally would prefer it to be, and I refuse to answer for any of the other political figures that I generally defend wholeheartedly.
Actually, I agree with Decker's position that it's much more productive for us to, since none of us are lawyers, to just talk about what policies we actually want, and that would have been the conversation I would have liked to have with Nick. But yeah.
True, I agree, because law's boring and lame.
Okay. Anybody else, Mick?
Oh, again, we got a lot, so I'm making good money here. But $10 from Doom Spiral. How do we know that the violent ice age?
Yeah, wait. What's even the point of talking about policy? What? Where nobody follows policy. Why do we talk about policy when nobody follows policy? What are we talking about here? Like, are we living in the same world? Okay, wait, no. There's no way we're living in the same world. Okay, never mind. Why do you even ask that question? I'm sorry. Oh my god. Wow, yes, just follow laws. Why didn't I think of that?
Attacks aren't actually Antifa infiltrators. We should investigate all vice for being part of a domestic terrorist organization and traitors, just in case.
I still don't know why we never got the fucking autopsy for Charlie Kirk. Tim Pool tweeted out he was stable. He dies. I saw Kirk leading up to the shooting. The guy looked like he was a little bit zoinked out. I don't know what his blood levels were for any particular drug. I just think it's crazy we didn't see the results of that, but that's just me.
True.
Okay. $10 from Dave Ovick. How does he want to get Ice Agent economically barred? And this is to you, Nicholas. When even post-World War II, Germany couldn't get every mid- and low-level Nazi Party member barred.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
We need to be good faith by debating people who say I don't know about that to the president's corruption and mouthed about immigrants.
True. You know what? You should...
A
Oh,
martini,
wow, thanks.
shaken, not stirred.
We need to be good faith by debating people who say I don't know about that to the president's corruption and mouthed about immigrants.
You know what you should say instead? You should say... What? Antifa? Where? Never heard about that. Nope, never heard about that. Nope, haven't heard about that. Nope, never heard about that. If it happens, then it's good. It's good, actually. It's good. Okay.
What strategy do you use that they didn't? Honest question.
Donuts, I know, right?
That's a tough question. Actually implementing it is hard, and it's quite possible that there's not the public will. Like how I see the ICE protests are as like the point of them is to sway public opinion against ICE, right? Because I think eventually there's a very high chance that they are essentially used as a private army. At least they are the means through which Trump would have a private army. And so it's important that they shatter their own reputation and that the people are totally against them, and that they don't see ICE as human, that they are not restrained in fighting back. And so that's why I think...
Okay, I get it now. The phone guy is a moderate cuck, right? The phone guy is an optics cuck, right? I understand now. I totally get it.
Like following reporting on ICE and allowing them to be...
It's going late? Yeah, do you know why? You know why? It's because the second channel reached 1,000 subscribers, okay? Which means I don't have to give a flying fuck about editing anymore. Editing? Never heard of it, okay? I don't know what editing even means, okay? I don't know what editing means in any way whatsoever. Based. All right? Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm talking about here? I have reached the apex.
Behave thuggishly, but responding peacefully is so important. I see them as basically, our Basij, right? Our brown shirts. And eventually we might have to go to war with them. But anyway, I think that if there is sufficient public condemnation of it, then we are totally able to do it when it comes to barring them or other measures. But I think that local governments would totally be able, especially in liberal polities, would be totally able to just
Will you watch the post debate? I don't know if we have enough time for that. I do have to sleep a little bit early. A little bit.
Ban them from all employment.
Why don't you need to edit for it? Because the second YouTube channel reached 1,000 subs.
Okay, $5 from Word to the Wise. I want to know from the people pro-clutching over the church attack. How do they feel about religious people attacking Planned Parenthood?
I mean, I'm completely against that. I'm actually pro-choice anyway, if that were relevant, which it really isn't. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the statutes against this have been stretched to the breaking point to, arrest people who are just silently praying outside abortion clinics or something. But to the extent that anyone engages in violence or even significantly harasses the people seeking a legal service, then yeah, I absolutely condemn that, and those people should be arrested.
Just curious, can you name a single event where somebody was arrested for silently praying outside of an abortion clinic? That was a very short question. I know the answer is no. I know. It's all good. Based.
$5 from I Killed Earl. Poor Earl. When did Don't Tread on Me turn into Don't Trigger My Cognitive Dissonance? MAGA turned into government bootlickers in a skinny minute.
Okay, that's not really a question, but
look, if it has a question mark, I'm reading it. Okay, $50 from Alishness.
When?
Thank you for $50.
Yeah, when did it happen?
They didn't attack the church because they were Christian. They went to the church because the pastor was an ICE officer, allegedly. What a stupid fucking point to make. Don Lemon isn't even anti-Christian. Why make such a brain-dead point? Question mark.
Isn't he gay?
Don Lemon is gay, I believe. Yes.
That's kind of anti-Christian, no?
Matters, but.
Oh, okay.
True.
I'm gonna head out, by the way.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? All that we can kind of close it out here.
So my best work is at nicholasdecker.substack.com. That's my name, .substack.com.
I'm good,
today,
actually.
I have a comprehensive, if pocket-sized primer on markup estimation from both the demand and the supply side, and some recent exciting work on doing markup estimation from the demand side at scale. So the problem historically is that if you're estimating...
Somehow, for some fucking reason, just remember, I guess, when it comes to a fucking ICE debate, somehow this guy is telling you to read about economics, okay? Yes, somehow talking about economics, all right? Surely talking about economics will inform us so much about how to win the hearts and minds of the people when it comes to ICE. Oh my god, this is so genius. I fucking love moderates.
Demand curves, right? You're going to need detailed, you need two things. You need detailed cost shifters and other forms of instrumental variation in order to trace out demand curves. And you also need a conduct assumption, which might not be portable from industry to industry. Conduct, by the way, is just the way in which firms compete. Do they set quantities and prices? Do they set prices and quantity? Are they colluding, et cetera, right? And so there has been, and so this means that prior demand side work estimating the markup has been industry by industry, and it takes a lot of work. Now there's been some recent papers like trying to do this at scale with different simplifying assumptions, but hopefully you can have multiple different simplifying assumptions and then compare to the supply side estimates, right? Which is where
I think he's trying to say immigrants are good for the economy. Yeah, but reading up on the facts of that, like, literally does not matter. Okay, like you can show them. Like, if 100% of the statistics say that immigrants are good for the economy, I promise you that won't change a single mind. Okay, that will not change a single mind. It won't turn a single heart. Like, it won't do it. There's just no point. There's no point. I'm sorry. Good luck.
You estimate a production function and the markup is equal to the elasticity of output with respect to some
Let me know when reading up on economics does in
input.
fact yeah.
Unfortunately, the assumptions there are just
change any minds. Okay.
Way too strong. They're not usable. So anyway, you can read all about that, or also like why we should kill the Trump administration. There, I suppose I got to pander a bit. And you can also find my tweets at capgouda CAPTGOUDA24. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. So here's what's going to happen. I have people who want to call in, and that's fine, but I know you both may need to go, and I do have more super chats to read, so I want to give both of you a chance to have outros, final thoughts, final statements.
I don't know how interested I am in
Destiny,
the
do you have
super
anything
chats, to be frank.
I mean, like this whole administration, all the people surrounding it are just deeply unserious people. They have no factual engagement with what's actually happening in the real world. Sometimes they want to talk facts, so they feel like the facts are on their side. Then they want to talk theory when they don't want to address the facts, and it's a collection of deeply unserious.
Then fighting against it will not change minds too? No, you fight against it to make them look stupid. You're not trying to convince their opinion. You're trying to make them look stupid. Okay? You're trying to make them look retarded. All right? They don't even hold themselves to the same standard of fact. Then why should you hold yourself to that, right? Fuck that shit.
People. The only thing that's more upsetting than dealing with them now is going to be dealing with them in 3 or 4 years when they pretend that they never really supported this administration, and all of them saw that the Trump admin was, there were a whole bunch of red flags and they were never fully on board with it. You already see it kind of today when none of these people actually admit how much they're throating Trump and his entire cabinet on Twitter, because as soon as you get into a conversation where they have to defend the indefensible, they immediately wheel out this, well, I'm not always supporting Trump and I'm not fully MAGA, and it's a super unserious world. And it's kind of like it's memes and it's funny jokes and everything online, I guess, because it's just we're at the end of the day we're just debating who.
And if you don't look good debating, then fine, you should be as shameless as possible. I think that you should be as bad faith and shameless as possible on purpose. Why? Because they don't deserve your good faith. That's why, okay? It doesn't even matter if you're like a bad debater, all right? They don't deserve your good faith, okay? Be as bad faith as possible because these people are the enemy, okay? They're not good faith interlocutors trying to work with you in order to find a mutually assured solution. They're there for our mutually assured destruction, okay? Not the same thing.
Fuck cares? But it's pretty sad to watch the country take this insane authoritarian slide against a group of people that used to scream about how important Second Amendment rights and states' rights are.
Okay, Hunter, Ash, do you have final thoughts for closing statements and things like that? And then if you guys want to stay, you can, but you can go if you like. But go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, sure. So first, I just wanted to issue a mea culpa on a specific point. I took a few minutes to look up abortion clinic cases, and while there are some that would fit the description I provided in the UK, all the ones in the US that I found, I thought they were good arrests and the charges were reasonable. So, fair there. Yeah, just in general, I would say that I think that this could have been a really interesting conversation, mostly between me and Decker, and it's a shame that didn't get to happen, but maybe we'll get to talk in the future. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I do appreciate
Decker
you coming.
is the one with
if
the
you want
dick
a more, I guess,
POD,
narrow,
okay.
tailored guest list, let
Skip
me know.
to SFO for drama.
We have some callers if you guys want to
later.
say for a couple of those. Is that okay?
I actually have to go.
I understand.
Okay, I'm gonna save that actually. Fuck that. Okay, I'm good. All right, I'm good. I'm Gucci.